So you're in charge for the next 3 meetings?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Practice.
Yeah. You know why? This happened because the tech was going to come fix that big printer I have, and so of course the day that he's coming down, luckily he came out of Castle. So. And well, the other tech was coming from Cheyenne, so that guy didn't show up. But they did get it fixed.
Everything coming off the freeway today that snow.
Did it?
Yeah, all. Nothing coming from Casper.
I don't need the moisture. It's nice.
I took a drive over the mountain last Friday. I'll tell you what, you better be scared.
Yeah?
They opened that road without a road.
That'll work.
Without a road.
Oh, good.
Very most of it, maybe hardly got any open.
That's wild. But
It could have been opened way earlier than
you never know about our spring snow.
well, that's the only reason why they hadn't opened it earlier, because like today, this could go all back up.
Oh, that's it.
Here with confidence that, well, yeah, we got open and everything else, and next thing you know, you got someone upstairs trapped in the middle of the snowstorm.
Yeah.
You know,
Why is
No, it's in there. I haven't grabbed it.
I can hear the answer now.
I won't be able to.
I know, you'll go, what did he say?
okay? So that's after. I'm gonna kill this word. I'm gonna butcher it. Well,
Okay, Old Docs has moved.
Well, those are. In case you're gonna make back upstairs. But I probably pass that on the parts.
you guys all right? All right. We're going to call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Lynn, will you open on roll call, please?
Madam Mayor Kathleen Wells. Vice Mayor Darrell Garner.
Here.
Councilmember Derek Elliott.
Here.
Councilmember Tanya Lumen.
Here.
Councilmember Terry Patterson.
Here.
Councilmember Steve Sanger.
Here.
Councilmember Bruce Seeloff.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to the agenda, to have a motion to approve. Councilman Sanger.
I move to approve the May 5th, 2026 City Council agenda as presented.
Second.
Do we have any discussion? Okay. Seeing none, will you open online voting, please?
Online voting is open. Online voting is closed. The motion passes with 6 yeas.
All right. Moving down to the consent agenda, do I have a motion? Councilman Sanger.
I move to approve the consent agenda of May 5th, 2026 as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, will you open online voting, please?
Online voting is open. Online voting is closed. The motion passes with 5 yeas and 1 nay. The 1 nay is Councilmember Elliott.
Thank you. All right, moving on to citizen participation. This is a public comment. Sets a time for the public comment of 5 minutes under agenda item citizens participation, with the provision that the 5 minutes time limit may be increased at the request of a member of public or any council member subject to vote of the council. Do we have anybody here tonight that would like to speak? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public comment at 6:02. All right, gonna move down to number 5, board appointments presentations. We have 4 proclamations tonight. If you are here for a proclamation, the first one up is the Celebrating America 250 Journeys to Carbon County. You're more than welcome to come to the front.
Hey, thank you all for having me. So if you don't know who I am, I'm the director of the Carbon County Museum, but on behalf of the Journeys to 250 Commission, which is celebrating the 250th anniversary of the United States, we would like to present a proclamation to the City Council for you all to sign, as well as a 13-star Betsy Ross flag to fly at the city's discretion. We're celebrating our documentary premiere, which was made through this commission on July 10th down at the depot. And after that, it will be available to distribute throughout the city and county of Carbon County to celebrate our historic heritage of travel and recreation and everything that makes this place special. So if you'd like, I could come up and present this and we can sign it and hand off the flag. Oh,
Yeah,
sweet.
yeah, sorry. So we'll go ahead and read it?
Sure.
Yeah, all right. All right. Okay. Celebrating the America 250 Journeys to Carbon County. Whereas the year 2026 marks the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence and the founding of the United States of America. Whereas the historic milestone known as the United States Semi-Quincentennial offers an opportunity for communities across the nation to reflect on our shared history, honor diverse experiences, and inspire future generations. And whereas Carbon County is a place shaped by journeys of indigenous peoples who have stewarded this land for generations, of immigrants and settlers traveling west, of railroad workers, miners who built communities, and of ranching families whose traditions endure today. And whereas these journeys marked by resilience, ingenuity, and culture exchange have created rich heritage and identity of Carbon County's towns and landscapes. And whereas while copper and coal once powered much of Carbon County's growth and prosperity, today a new kind of energy draws people here, one rooted in adventure, recreation, and connection to the land. And whereas the theme, Journeys to Carbon County, invites residents and visitors alike to explore many paths that have led people here, to honor the stories of all who have called this place home, and to recognize the continuing journeys that shape our future. And whereas the communities of Carbon County are committed to preserving and sharing their stories through education, cultural program, and public engagement during the America 250 say it again. Commemoration. And now, therefore, we have the communities of Carbon County, Wyoming, do hereby proclaim their participation in the celebration of America 250 and proudly recognize Journeys to Carbon County as unifying theme to guide our commemorative efforts, and we encourage all residents, schools, organizations, and visitors to take part in activities and events that honor our collective past, celebrate our present, and inspire our shared future. In witness whereof we have hereunto set our hands on this day, 5th day of May, 2026, in Carbon County, Wyoming. All right, yeah. Everybody come forward. Yeah.
I want to block him.
Are you guys, do you want them all to stand? Yeah.
Your choice.
No?
We'll let him have the spotlight. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay, where do I set this?
Here. It's the good one. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, moving down to another proclamation honoring Rawlins High School and Victory High School graduation class of 2026. Do we have anybody here that would like to come forward? All right. Honoring Rawlins High School, Victory High School graduation classes of 2006. Whereas the city of Rawlins takes great pride in tradition of academic excellence and community spirit, and whereas the Rawlins High School and Victory High School graduating classes of 2026 have successfully completed their high school education, demonstrating dedication, perseverance, and commitment to learning. And whereas these graduates have not only excelled in academics, but have also participated in extracurricular activities, athletics, and community service, enriching the school and the city of Rawlins. And whereas the graduating class represents the future of our community, poised to contribute their talents, skills, and leadership in the years to come. Now, therefore, I, Darrell Garner, Vice Mayor of the City of Rawlins, do hereby proclaim the city's deepest congratulations to the Rawlins High School, Victory High School graduating class of 2026. We, the citizens of Rawlins, acknowledge your accomplishments and celebrate this momentous occasion in your lives. We are confident that you will continue to achieve great things and make a positive impact on the world. So proclaimed this day, this 5th day of May 2026. All right, moving down to a proclamation, Wyoming Nurses Week, May 6th through May 12th, 2026. You guys want to come forward? Thank you guys for coming. Thanks. All right. Did you guys want to speak, or do we want to move forward with the proclamation?
Does everybody want to speak?
Bill Barb.
Yeah, guys. Thanks for having us. You know, Wyoming Nurse Association's been all over the state. In fact, we were supposed to be at Cheyenne today with Governor Gordon. And few people were that live in Cheyenne. Of course, you know, our roads were closed, so we didn't get up there. But every year we've been doing this for years and years. Some of us have been here a long time, way back when Mann was the one that first started it. And I think that's absolutely wonderful since he's 101, 102 years old. So we want to thank you guys for having us. There's a few of us here, so that's nice to have. But, you know, we're from Public Health, Memorial Hospital. Where else are we at? Retired. Okay, lucky. Higher ed, you know, wherever. So thank you for having us. You know, we hope that if there's anything we can do for you, you let us know, and we're all here for you, and keep supporting us because we need it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Nurses Week proclamation. Whereas nurses constitute Wyoming's largest healthcare profession, providing indispensable high-quality care that is essential to the safety and well-being of all patients. And whereas the nursing profession meets the evolving health needs of our population across all settings, while the Wyoming Nurse Association advocates for increased access to primary and preventative health care. And whereas the demand for nursing services continues to grow due to an aging population and increasing clinical complexities, making a highly skilled nursing workforce more vital than ever to our state's future. And whereas the Wyoming Nurses Association has designated May 6th through May 12th as Nurses Week, with the theme, The Power of Nurses, to celebrate the unparalleled impact and contributions Nurses Week to enrich our lives. And now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Darrell Garner, Vice Mayor of the City of Rawlins, urge all residents of Wyoming to join me in honoring the nurses who care for us and celebrating their accomplishments during this week and at every opportunity throughout the year. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the executive seal of the Vice Mayor of the City of Rawlins to be affixed this 5th day of May, 2026.
I have to sit. Oh,
Absolutely, come on.
sorry, Darryl.
No, you're fine. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
I just need to get a picture of it. I don't send a picture to my
Do-
association. And then we can just picture that Jackie gets that.
Did you want us to stand up,
Yes.
Myra?
I think that
Let's-
would be nice.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we can see all of that.
Oh, I will. I will do that. Thank you.
You're fine. You're fine. That's very nice. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. One more.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. I think one of them got stuck together. Okay. All right, moving down to Proclamation National Police Week, May 10th through 16th, 2026. How are you?
Good, Mr. Vice Mayor. How are you and
Good.
council? In 1962, President Kennedy proclaimed May 15th as National Peace Officer Day and the week surrounding it as National Police Week. I've been to the memorial in D.C., the National Law Enforcement Memorial. I know names that are on it. The week and the day were designated to celebrate the sacrifices of law enforcement officers who made the ultimate sacrifice while protecting their communities, and to honor their families. Next week, on May 14th, Thursday, the Rawlins Police Department will be hosting, with our law enforcement partners in Carbon County, a memorial on the steps of the Rawlins Police Department. It'll be at 2:30 in the afternoon. I'd like to invite everybody to come. It'll be a short ceremony on the steps, and then we'll have an open house at the police department.
Can you give that date one more time? Sorry.
Yep. It's Thursday, May 14th, 2:30 p.m. at the Rawlins Police Department.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you. Move to reading the proclamation on National Police Week. Whereas the Congress and the President of the United States have designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the week in which May 15th falls as National Police Week, and whereas law enforcement officers are the guardians of life and property, defenders of the individual right to be free, warriors in the war against crime, and dedicated to the preservation of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their law enforcement agency, and the members of our law enforcement agency recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression. And whereas the men and women of Rawlins Police Department unceasingly provide a vital public service. Now therefore, I, Darrell Garner, Vice Mayor of City of Rawlins, call upon all citizens of Rawlins and upon all patriotic, civic, and educational organizations to observe the week of May 10th through May 16th, 2026 as National Police Week, with appropriate ceremonies and observations in which all of our people may join in commemorating law enforcement officers, past and present, who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities have rendered a dedicated service to their communities, and in so doing have established for themselves an inviolable and enduring reputation preserving the rights and security of all citizens. I further call upon all citizens of Rawlins to observe the 14th of May 2026 as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of those law enforcement officers who, through their courageous deeds, have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their community or have become disabled in the performance of duty. And let us recognize pay respects to the survivors of our fallen heroes. So dated this 5th day of May 2026.
On behalf of my police brothers and sisters, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving down to reports and information. We have DDA and hub reports updates. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. Wow, I can't believe it's been a whole quarter and so much going on. So I'll try to be brief, but there's a lot to not be brief about, which is a good thing. So actively, currently, I kind of broke it down in businesses, marketing, development, and events. So in businesses and buildings, right now DDA is actively working with 7 different buildings in the downtown, all of them that are empty. So we have a lot of input on different businesses coming in or inquiries, maybe making a building smaller to be more affordable and or optional for a smaller business. So 7 different building owners that I've been working with. Again, we've had, over the last 18 months, there have been 10 new businesses that have come into the downtown. Yes, we've had some big retirements, some long-standing stakeholders. I'm definitely working on those businesses, but we have to look at also that we have 10 other businesses that have started up, young entrepreneurs trying to make a difference, and 4 expansions, and so that's pretty darn exciting. Again, 7 different buildings and property owners that I'm working with. Marketing-wise, and I think this is important, is getting the word out. And in 2025, we had 650,000 views on our Facebook page, and that is what we have posted ourselves. That is not any businesses or events that we've shared. So when I was calculating out, we're about 1 million views on the downtown Rawlins page. Some calculations from 1/1 to 4/30, so the first 4 months. Last year we had 78,000 views. This year we have 188,000, so we're almost triple the amount of views. And I think there's reasons for that, which I'm going to talk about. But the goal for DDA is that we would like to have 1.5 million views on our posts, just our posts for 2026, and we're tracking pretty close that we should, which is what's happening is that improves development when people are looking to come to Rawlins, if they're looking to stop for an event. I mean, all those views on Facebook and Instagram really add up, and actually that is not Instagram numbers, those are only Facebook numbers. So we're getting, last year we had about 1 million views. I want to talk about development. In the first quarter, we did receive a grant from the Wyoming Bar for $500,000, $500,000. And then also the Ferguson has about 1.1 million between a DEQ grant and the grant we received from the SLIB board last week or 2 weeks ago. I want to really thank Councilman Sanger and Matt Hall, for city manager, for putting in the time and going to Cheyenne and sitting in front of that group and really working for Rawlins. And so we have about 1.1 million in the Ferguson. So far this quarter, $1.6 million in grants. That's pretty darn fantastic. Also on top of that, we have the CDT Destination District. We have had 3 different major stories that we've either been the main focus, Cowboy State Daily, an article, then we were on the Cowboy State Daily morning show, and then last week, the end of last week, we were actually picked up on top rural communities in Wyoming doing things in small towns, and our story got re-picked up about CDT and things that we're doing in Rawlins. So we've had some really good information out. Silver City was a great little trip, made a lot of contact, a lot of vendors want to come up, check out Rawlins. I can tell you that those walkers that have come through our community in the last, I don't know how many, some of them are on their 3rd time, 3,100 miles is it's the hardest trail of the 3 trails. You have the Pacific Crest, you have the Continental Divide, and then you have the Appalachian Trail, AT. It is by far the hardest, 3,100 rugged miles, 3,100. And they are saying, oh, we stopped at a Nong's, we love a Nong's, we've gotten coffee at different coffee houses. The school or the city transportation bus is great. It just was really good to hear people all the way in New Mexico say, we like coming into Rawlins. And so we just want to continue to make that experience. The last thing I wanted to talk about between marketing, so we're touching buildings, we're touching businesses, we're touching walkers, is our event. So I just we have a new program that we kicked off, and I really haven't talked about it, is the Downtown Business Assistance for Special Events. So with not having 2.5 people in our office any longer and having 1.5, 1.25, we really had to look at our services that we were offering. And the board and different committees said, can we support the businesses having their own events? And then we can help with marketing and because of all of our views and everything. And so last year we kicked off at the end of last year, we call it the BASE program, Business Assistance for Special Events. And that's where the downtown businesses come in and say, we want to hold an event and we're going to talk to our friends and neighbors, and we actually just do the marketing for them. And I can tell you it has exploded. Tonight is Ladies' Night, Cinco de Mayo. There are 7 businesses in the district that are involved and 5 businesses out of the district. So on a Tuesday night, it is Cinco de Mayo, but last month they had, I think, 6, so pretty close. Reactivating the downtown at night and having reoccurring events. But 12 businesses are involved with tonight's event. I can tell you one event that used the BASE program at the beginning of the year, New Year, New You. They had 10 in-district businesses and 10 out-of-district businesses, 20 businesses coming together. To date, from the beginning of the year, we've had 12 events in 4 months. I can tell you when we were, because of capacity and everything, we had an average of 2 in January, February, March, and April. This program is working. It's getting everybody to come together. and work cohesively. And again, we support. We don't set who's in it. We don't ask who's in it. They come, they fill out a form, it talks about what's required of them, that they have to do certain A and B, why we're marketing them, and then they get the group together. And it's working, obviously. I mean, 12 events in 4 months, so pretty darn exciting. The last thing is I do have cards, a little more information on halfway days. We really promoted this down in Silver. Have a ton of people that are coming to Rawlins, Wyoming, and they're not walkers. They were so excited to hear and saying, we're halfway and and we've heard Wyoming's cool. We might as well come and meet some of the walkers there. We started with them at the kickoff 2 weeks ago in New Mexico. Let's meet them halfway. We also have some vendors that are coming, and it's just going to be a really fun weekend. And then last week we followed up. We had Wyoming Outdoor Summit. We were very fortunate to hold that in Saratoga. It's a Wyoming Outdoor Summit, statewide organization, and we had a booth there. We had graciously got a booth donated to us, so we didn't have to pay anything, and nonstop people that had never heard about Rawlins or this event or the CDT. Terry, thank you for working at that event. I'd love to hear a few things if you had, but again, lots going on with this, but Councilman Patterson worked the booth Friday morning. And I think it was a good event. I wasn't able to make it
It was an
over.
excellent event. It
Yeah.
was a lot of people really asking a lot of questions, so.
So just all working together, all components. So, any questions?
One question.
Sure.
Are we still going to do the street lights in the intersections downtown?
Yeah, I
that
had a
this year?
yep. Thank you. Great question. That was not on my list. It should have been, because I met with a contractor yesterday morning to start giving me a price for the poles to put up. Thank you. Great question.
Councilman Elliott?
How's it going with Rushmore Furniture?
It's moving forward.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
May I approach real quick?
Yeah,
and just-
absolutely.
okay.
Yep. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. You have plenty.
Yes, you have that line.
Thank you, Pam. All right, moving down to city manager reports and staff reports.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor, Council. First, Mr. Vice Mayor, I want to congratulate you on pronouncing sexquentennial. I think it was close.
Yeah.
I think I just screwed it up, but I think you got it, so that's a tough one. So tonight we have our work session for our first budget meeting, and just as a reminder for the viewing audience, our next work sessions for budget will be this Thursday, May 7th, Monday, May 11th, and then next Thursday, May 14th, and they'll all be here at City Council Chambers at 6 o'clock. Recently had our joint water meeting with the town of Sinclair at the depot, and I thought that went pretty well. Had a lot of discussions about what our summer's gonna look like, and good to meet with them and have a little bit of dinner. Thanks to the city clerk for setting that stuff up for us. The outdoor shooting range is open for the season. It'll be open until October 31st. Next week we have our in-person interviews for our Parks and Rec director. We've got 3 candidates, and so we have a lot of high hopes, and I think we got some good individuals to choose from. So happy for that. As far as the rec center, in that regard, we're finishing up, I think, towards the end of the month. I caught it this morning with the HVAC replacement within the facility, so there will be air conditioning there in the summertime. I know that this is probably something that you guys all saw and shared, but on Monday, May 18th at 10 a.m., the Key Club Dog Park, Rawlins, will be celebrating new dog bridges that the higher education shop students built, and so if you get a chance, please come on out and support our local dog park folks. There's a few things around town, and I'm going to ask our Community Development Director and Public Works Director to come up and hit on those. But before that, I just wanted to mention that we are partnering, contracting more or less with Carbon County Weed and Pest to do some spraying work, and that started yesterday. A lot of our lots around town. And with that, I think, which one of you guys wants to come first? Our Public Works Director will come up, and Cody's got quite a bit of information to update you on.
Next time.
Thank you. Honorable Vice Mayor and Council, I just wanted to give you guys a quick update or report on last week's events with our water line, and then just a quick report on our project over on Edinburgh. So as you know, last Tuesday we had another leak that we noticed in our water line out there on the high side of town. Crews went out there approximately 6 a.m. to start working on it. They ended up digging up and replacing 27 feet of line in the ground. Once we charged the line back up and put it back online, it started leaking immediately again the next week or the next day. We went out and dug it up. Unfortunately, right past the PVC and the solid sleeve that we put in, it blew another hole in the sleeve. At the levels of the tanks, we tried to just put a repair clamp on it for over the weekend so that we could get our tank levels up, because we were pretty concerned about where our levels were at. Once we put that back online again and started getting pressure to our fire hydrant where we relief the air out of, one of those patches started leaking again. And so at that point, we just made a decision we had to just get in there and do a really good repair. So we went in and replaced another 38 feet of pipe. So this repair was 65 feet in total. And the loss of water that we experienced due to these breaks was about 1.55 million gallons of water. But currently, right now, everything is holding very well. And we're crossing our fingers it doesn't happen again for a long time and looking to try to fix the problem permanently. The update on the Edinburgh project. Currently, right now, our water line is from Murray Street is where we start most of our utilities, and so I'll go where the footage is off that. Water line is currently at the 700-foot mark. Our storm system is at the 600-foot mark. Our sanitary sewer, after some repairs that we had to do in it, we have it up to the 1100-foot mark. And in our meeting today that we had with the contractor, we were looking at bringing in their concrete subcontractor at the end of this month to start doing curb and gutter, valley pans, and then moving forward from there. And we're still slated for September for paving. So the schedule is a very rapid schedule on that project, but it looks very good. We are moving along very nice on that project. Any questions?
Councilwoman Lumen?
So are the tanks back full, or?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
we're at 80% right now. And we, with the help of Myra, let it out to the public that we are in a safe spot right now.
Okay.
So
Other question was, how many city employees did we have working on that line?
we had out that night 12. We had 12 employees working on it on those 3 days. Throughout our water treatment staff and our utility staff, which are amazing staffs.
Amazing.
It was a very hard job on them, long 3 days. So
Yeah.
it took its toll on our folks. So
Absolutely.
you thank them if you ever get to see them.
Councilman Elliott?
What was the cost to the city of each event, or the cost to the city for the total of the events?
Most of the time when we go out there, the estimates that we look at when we get in the ground out there with the 20-inch PVC that we stick in the ground, it's right around the $20,000 mark. This one, because it was continuous and we didn't have to dig as much, we kind of kept the hole open, just put weight on the pipe when we recharged it just to make sure everything was holding. That cost probably goes down, but you're right around the $15,000 to $20,000 mark.
For the entirety of the events?
Per hole. So the entirety on that one, we're probably about 35 to 40 maybe.
Thank you.
65 feet. Yeah.
On the, when you guys were notified, was it one of the staff that caught it, or was it your
Yes.
SCADA system?
It's a SCADA system that
Yeah.
actually catches, and staff really, because with this new SCADA system, you can very much see dramatic losses and alarms on the tanks when we lose a certain amount. And since we've been dealing with this in the past, our staff knows at the water treatment plant, if there's a considerable loss, and that is just in a foot at the most of our high side of town, Painted Hills or hospital tank, there's an issue. And the first place we go look is where we have our issues on that line.
So would you say you're noticing more frequently because you have this high visibility of it now, whereas before it would have been almost maybe a catastrophic failure, but it would have taken a lot more to really notice leaks happening before it was taking?
Absolutely. The old SCADA system, there was glitches in it consistently. It was not alarming when it should be. We could have lost, instead of noticing it within inches and feet, upwards of just a foot, and we noticed it and caught it. On the last SCADA program, we probably wouldn't have noticed it till it was at least 10 or 15 feet, a considerable amount more.
So essentially, this is saving us money.
Yes.
And I think one thing the public has noticed, it seems like we have more leaks. I think we probably have the same amount of leaks. We are just so much more proactive and keeping that maintenance up and preventing future leaks with this system. We're going to see that. Whereas before, we experience it. It's full catastrophic failure, and then try to find the leak. It's a little bit harder because you don't have that detail that you do now to say, hey, we're seeing this dropping over here the fastest. We can move there. So.
Yeah, and our staff very much knows the critical points in our infrastructure that we have within town. So when our SCADA starts showing that there's an issue with water demand somewhere, we know exactly where the potential it's coming from. So.
Awesome. Well, tell them thank you.
Yeah.
Honorable Vice Mayor and Council, I have we had citizen complaints on property on South Side that we had deemed dangerous previously. This is between 440 and 448 West Davis. After looking at the property again this week, we found that it's in much worse condition than what we originally deemed it at the day that we started our initial paperwork. If I may approach, I have photos.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just thought it was close.
So we originally started the posting on January 30th of 2025, and this was filed with the courts February 3rd of 2025. Pulled the ROG, the family that used to live at this house is deceased, so nobody has stepped forward to lay claim to the property. As you can see in the photos, there's really not much there to go after as far as any valuables that we would in turn take out and put them in the vehicles, be it salvage, and then we would store any values over $600 in safekeeping until somebody came forward, at which time if nobody stepped forward, then we would sell them out at an auction or whatever the case may be. But we looked at this, and after talking to city manager, I felt with his guidance that we really need to look at taking this down. And that's why I'm here tonight, to see if I can get some kind of direction from the council on which way we want to go with it. Out of our 97 dangerous building code that we still run off of, there is 18 items in that section that deem a building dangerous. If we hit one or two of them, it's deemed a dangerous condition, dangerous building. We hit 15 of them. So these are the type of buildings that we're coming up against. And I know, talking to the city manager and the finance director, we do have some money to demo this. I have asked for bids. I received one, and I guess the discussion would be to council, see which way we want to approach this to clean that lot up. It's a safety concern, definitely, with the kids. We get windows get knocked out. We go and board them up. We check to make sure that the doors are secured, which the garage door, it's hard to secure that one. But for the most part, this one here is right at the top as far as being set up for abatement.
The one picture here shows the foundation. It looks like if you get too close, you might end up under the house real quick.
And even on the first house, the stucco house, I remember we had a fire there. I don't know if Chief Robinson remembers this one or not, but that one there, and I don't know the exact year when that was, but we all had new boots, and they were the hard plastic. And it was cold and icy, so we were like the Keystone Cops out there. So I don't know if Councilman Patterson was on that one, but yeah, there was people sliding all over the place. So yes, this one here, I guess direction from council on how we want to approach this. As far as the demo, the one bid that I do have, I know it could be disposed of probably in 3 days.
Councilman Sanger?
Anita, this is a question for you. What is our legal availability right now for what we can or cannot do with private property?
Thank you, Vice Mayor Gardner, Councilman Sanger. We have followed, I have worked closely with Lou and with the city manager to confirm that we are following the appropriate legal steps, including all the due process notice and making sure we adhere to all of the legal requirements. We have, at this point, we are ready to accept a bid to have it demolished. And then the next step would be to place a lien on the property as the next step before. We don't want to acquire additional property on behalf of the city at this point, but that provides a good first step to make to document our costs for dangerous building abatement remediation. And then we can determine the next steps. At this point, it presents a significant risk to health and safety in the current condition that it is, and it continues to deteriorate.
Go ahead.
Have we done any, through you, have we done any background on, are there liens currently on the property?
There is currently a significant Department of Health lien for the care services that were provided to the last surviving owner, who is now also deceased. We would be stacking on the liens. This is, at present, this is the easiest way to at least mitigate the dangerous condition. And then we can seek recovery following this. It just has gotten to the point where we're concerned with kids, homeless, and other situations as the property is right now.
Councilman Singer.
So the nursing home in Cheyenne does not actually own it now?
Well,
they just have lien on it.
Honorable Vice Mayor and Council, with the ROG that was pulled, we have the State of Wyoming Department of Health Division of Healthcare, which was the lien holder on this property. The dollar amount on that was $97,600. $796. And that's all that came up on the ROG.
My other question would be, do we have to have heirs or something going on, is there any asbestos, is there anything we gotta take care of first before we can just go check that out?
The way the asbestos program, any commercial building would have to be tested. This one here is, if you look at some of the photos, we have partially the roof gone on the main structure. The back apartment garage, that is about 80% gone. And in the yard itself, you can see the remnants of what hasn't gone to the neighbor's house. So we looked at it really close, but you'll find non-friable asbestos in window masks, tar on the roofs. Then we look at that expense of, what's it going to take? It's non-friable. You can haul it out to our landfill. Friable to have to go someplace else. We have no transite siding on it. So this is stucco, wood under the green roof structure. The other is the same with wood. Looking at it today, I'd say 90% of it's all wood and stucco.
Councilman Singer?
Do we know the current value of the land?
I do not.
Councilwoman Bloom?
So, who's the owner of the property?
Who is the owner?
The estate of
The estate is the owner.
So the ROG just gives me the owner at the time.
Okay.
And that's all I have on that.
So the estate is still working through who owns the property?
To
Or
be
who will
honest
be the
with you, Councilwoman Lumen, I don't know how that process works.
Because it seems like we're gonna be making that property more valuable. Definitely want our money back for that, to say the least. And is that possible to even get that money back if they have such another large lien on the land?
Ms. Mayor?
Thank you, Vice Mayor Gardner, Councilwoman Lumen. In regard to the value of the property, while the city has not conducted an appraisal or any type of formalized assessment of the value, the county does list it as $43,101 for the land and $131,000 with improvements. That's maybe questionable, but in terms of the land, they are assessing about $43,000. In regard to recovery, the potential for recovery is there. We could just there are mechanisms for us to work with the Department of Health and to seek forgiveness or dismissal of their current lien. There is the chance of recovery in its current state is very low. There are also currently property tax certificate of purchases that have been taken. We would also be working with the county to communicate with the individual to see if they would remain interested in any way. So there's several steps. Oftentimes, when there's a property tax, people see that there's property taxes, a sheriff's sale, and that sounds great until they discover that there's a $96,000 in healthcare liens. Then they release their interest in the property. So this creates this ongoing cycle of lack of recovery for property taxes. And in removing this building, the city accomplishes a couple of things. Number one, removal of a very dangerous situation. The structural integrity is very questionable at this point. And then we begin with beautification process. That alone has a lot of inherent benefits. It cleans up an eyesore, and then it makes that property more attractive to additional individuals. And then we are happy to work collaboratively with other individuals to mitigate some of these ugly liens to the extent possible in order to return a property that can be developed into a useful structures and purpose and return to the tax rolls.
You guys at the same time.
So,
Go ahead.
can we hear an idea what it's gonna cost to dispose of it? Where are we gonna come up with this money to dispose of it?
So with the bid I received today, or last Friday, was $12,000, which doesn't include the landfill fees, the waste going across the scale. We would account for that weight coming in, dollar-wise, and then that would be attached to the lien that we're gonna place on it.
Councilman Singh? Still?
Is there a basement?
It's
Crawl space basement?
not even crawl space. There's a couple areas in there that we walked in today and we went down to the ground. So it's probably only 1.5 feet, 2 foot deep. So basically a pipe chase.
Councilman Elliott?
So a lot of people in the community, they're asking why we're outsourcing stuff. So why would we outsource it and not have city staff do the work?
Honorable Vice Mayor and Council, as you can tell, city staff is stretched now as we go day by day. And this here, we would outsource it and be done in 3 days versus not knocking Cody and his crew, but if they get pulled out for another water break, God forbid, but anything that comes up that he has to pull off of it, now we've got double the problem because we got partially a partial building that's down when we have one person who could come in with his trucks and take it down and as it comes down, haul it out.
Let's have the council, are you guys in agreement to having them look at it? Bring this back to us at the next meeting? Do you have one more?
question.
Okay, go ahead, Councilman.
You could put 4 pictures on a page.
I know I could have done that, but when I hit
I'm just saying, this is a forest.
When I put I changed from previous, and that's what came out, and I wasn't gonna waste what we had. So you can get up to 6.
Sure. 6 out there.
Yeah.
That might be better.
He found some trees out there on Battle Pass. It's open now. So.
Or do you want to have them go ahead and do it? I'm for it, if everybody else is on board.
How soon do we want to do this?
As soon as possible.
Yesterday.
So bring it to the next meeting as an item to
Do
approve,
we need
or
an official
can we do it
vote?
right now?
How,
Vote on it now.
I just think staff direction would be enough, I think. I mean, I don't know that you necessarily have to. I think
Well,
within our policy,
We could, yeah.
Yeah, we can
Council-
do that. We can do it
Yeah,
in
Councilman
a-
Singer?
All right, I move that we accept whatever the bid is, 12,000,
12,000.
yeah, for the demolition of the property at
440 West Davis.
in the amount of not to exceed. 15.
Yeah.
They're number 12, but not to exceed.
Oh,
in case they run to
15.
something.
So if we look at what the actual bid of 12,000, that all depends on the weight that goes across that scale to tack on to the final bill.
So 12,000 plus the final bill for weight?
The contractor's bill would be 12,000, plus the city have a bill for
Right.
the weight going into the dumps.
Yes, sir.
And that's interdepartmental, right? We're just going between departments here? One's gonna be paying for the landfill.
right,
Okay.
yes.
Do we have a second?
Well, no, and suggest to add
Oh.
on to the resolution.
Go ahead.
And to direct staff to take appropriate measures to document cost and place a lien on the property.
I'll accept that.
Second.
Thank you. Got a first and second. Do we have any more discussion? Councilman Elliott?
Do we have these funds budgeted? And if so, what account would it come out of?
So with the dangerous building fund, this is what this is coming out of. When we sold the metal from the Lawrence property, we ended up with 15,000 less, I think $300, 15,300. So that's what would pay for this project. Now, once this project consumes them funds, until we get more funds from the Lawrence property, at that point, that would go back in to replenish that fund. So this would constitute the dangerous building fund being right at even right now.
Thank you.
All right. No more? All right. Lynn, will you open online voting, please? Or voice vote? Yep. Okay.
Hold on.
Thank you, Lou.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor, do you vote on it?
Yes.
Councilmember Larson?
Yes.
Councilmember Sanger?
Yes.
Councilmember Seeloff?
Yes.
Councilmember Lumen?
Yes.
Councilmember
Elliot?
Elliott? Oh, God, I'm sorry.
Yes.
With motion, with everybody saying yay, the motion passes with 6 yays.
All right. Thank you. All right. Moving down to item C, City Attorney Report. It's all yours.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Gardner and Council. I actually don't have anything standalone to report, but I've been happy to support all staff. We've been working on this particular dangerous building project, and we're happy to be able to proceed with this and make that neighborhood a little bit safer, better looking. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Move down to City Council updates. Do we have any updates? No. I just had a quick question for you, Ms. Mayberry. We spoke about the school zones a while back, about tickets being handed out in the school zones where there are no schools anymore. Have we made any progress on that? On what we might do to mitigate that and clean that up a little? And
There is an ordinance that specifically speaks to school zones when it's spelled correctly.
does anybody else have anything while we wait? Councilman Lynn?
We had purchased a camera to see underground, to see the pipes, right? So I had somebody ask me a question, if that can also be used how do I put it? To find the dead bodies in the cemetery.
No.
So our sewer camera that is more for pipes infrastructure, but we are looking at a radar system that I believe we have it in this next year's budget for our cemetery, so that we can actually go look out there. We have actually budgeted for that. We would really like to have one within, because we can actually use that to find, say, underground infrastructure that is old, abandoned. It'll help us in a lot of other ways.
Okay, because they were just concerned, they know that some things are out there that shouldn't be out there, or, yeah.
They get found quite often.
Yes, and that it would save both the city time and
Yes.
money if we knew where they were.
Yeah, like I said, we are actually putting one in the budget for this next year. So
Okay,
we can utilize it
answered my
sometime.
question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Honorable Vice Mayor Gardner, Council, school zones under the Title 10 of the Rawlins Municipal Ordinances that governs traffic. School zones, the designation of school zones is actually conducted by the council. The designation of school zones is permanent, so it is without regard to time or date, according to the statute, the ordinances. As this is an ordinance, the school zone designations, any changes to those would also need to be made by ordinance. In terms of how they are determined, it's generally the issue that where there's a bus pickup or a designated area where children are going to be congregating.
Councilman Singer?
I'm not sure that's the question. If it's unmarked and you're not from Rawlins, Wyoming, how do you know it's a school zone? If you're
In-
speeding and you get the ticket and then you get the add-on, how would you have known?
Honorable Vice Mayor Garner, Councilman Sanger, the school zones are generally marked. They're, what may be lacking in some of the places, maybe some signs that might have gotten taken down. I believe we had discussed this. There was a missing sign at the Victory High School, and there was one more, right? But otherwise, I believe the school zones are all appropriately marked. It was just that Victory High School area.
Councilman Singer?
Up by me is where Mountain View used to be. There's not a sign.
Took them all down.
They took them all down. They're gone. So because that's the Indianapolis 500 down 11th Street. You know, 5:30 in the morning, don't go near the street. How would they ticket them if you don't know that there was a school there, just an empty lot? How would you know that you're gonna get a ticket with an add-on because there was a school here when there's not a sign?
I don't believe they ticket there anymore. That is a 25-mile-an-hour zone
Yeah.
anyway.
Well, I know that, I live there, but they don't go 25.
Council members, are you aware of an instance where the Rawlins Police gave a ticket for a school zone where there's no school anymore?
Yes.
I'm not aware of that. Can I hook up with you later and we'll talk about it? Is it possible that it's because there's a bus stop there?
There's no bus stop there.
Okay.
Bus stop is up on
There's
Alder
a
Street.
couple of them where the bus stops,
Right.
but there's no sign.
So there is a bus stop.
The bus stops,
Okay.
but there is no sign.
Okay.
So there's no way to know.
I can't see our officers issuing tickets for school zones where there used to be a school and there isn't one anymore.
Okay.
That does not sound like anything that we would be doing. If you're aware of those instances, I'd love to know about them so I can look into them further and get you better information. I strongly suspect there's a bus stop and that's why. I believe I know of the instance that you're referring to, and that was a bus stop incident, not a school zone, not a school where a school used to be. We would not issue tickets for a school zone when the school itself was taken down decades ago. That flies in the face of the discretion that the officers use. But I'll talk to you about the instances that you're aware of, find out more information for you, and then get back to you. Okay?
I also wanted to
Councilman
clarify
Lewis.
that in prosecutions with speeding that I handle in municipal court, they've all been in current either school zones or at a bus stop. I haven't had any instances of citations being issued outside of what are currently schools or a
And
bus stop.
I also couldn't see our officers giving school zone tickets near a bus stop on a weekend or at 3 in the morning. That just doesn't make any sense to me, but I'm interested in hearing what you have and I'll look into it.
Councilman Lemon?
And then
Tagging
one,
on.
one more thing I'd add. Our system has multiple layers, right? And our city prosecutor just brought up another one. Are you aware of prosecuting any tickets like we're talking about here?
No.
Yeah, and our tickets mostly come here, they don't go to county court. So I'm not, I'd like to know more. I'm sorry, Councilman Lemon.
Tagging on what's already been said, I think it'd be important to make sure that the bus stops are marked with a sign that it's a bus stop,
That would be Public Works, and I'll work with the director.
right?
Yep.
Just so we don't have any misunderstandings.
Yeah, I also
Signs
don't
right
see
there.
us issuing tickets near a bus stop when there's no bus, no students, nothing going on there.
Right.
I mean, usually the bus is a giveaway that it's stopped and that's a bus stop, but I'll find out more when I hear more from the other council members.
Okay.
Councilman Patterson?
There's also an issue of the schools changing bus stop areas,
There is.
because I grew up in the neighborhood where I live, block away from where I grew up as a young kid. And all the bus stops were either over by the pen or at the top side on Alder Street on both Mountain View School. Now, every morning, we get one come up right around our corner, go right down in front of our house, and stops down the street and picks up kids. Well, that's not a school bus stop. It's not even designated as it, but they still stop and pick up kids there. Now, that's,
I think it's important to look at why the Rawlins Police Department takes enforcement action. We don't issue citations to generate revenue. We take enforcement action to correct behavior to ensure the public safety. That is our motivation.
but wouldn't it be smart to get with the school and find out what they're doing on designation of school bus stops?
Sure.
Because
And we'd
I
have
think
to
there's a
look,
big confusion in town on where they're at anymore.
we'd have to look at the ordinance as well. Once I find out more information from you, I'll know more about your specific cases. But, you know, for the public, if there's a school bus, we want them paying attention, slowing down, stopping, not speeding, doing those types of things. Us giving tickets where there used to be a school makes no sense to me. I'd find that hard to believe. School bus stops, you know, it's between the schools and Public Works to properly mark them. But it's not like there's an unmarked bus stop for a school bus. It's the middle of the day, there's no students around, there's no bus, and then we're just waiting for people to drive through fast when it's not marked so we can give them a ticket, assuming they should have known that. I don't see us doing that either. But watching what we do is very important, and I take your question seriously, and I'll talk to both of you and find out what cases you're talking about and get back to you.
For clarification, I was asking about just the designation of school zones. So where our schools are designated, how we move about undesignating them as a school zone, so that if that happens, then it's crystal clear.
I'm not aware of it, but I'll wait to hear from the two of you.
Okay.
And then it'll come down to you working with the city attorney to look what the ordinance says, and then obviously changing it is the council's purview.
Yeah, it's great to know. Thank you.
Can we
Councilman
get a
Singh?
copy of that? The ordinance itself that designates that we are the ones that's supposed to.
Well,
Do away
as it's an ordinance, it is
Right.
legislated by
Right.
council, by governing body.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And
council.
Thank you.
I also just want to clarify that there is not a specific that says at the intersection of First and Main or whatever. It doesn't state that. It is just how they've been designated where the signs are at the directive of council, and I can't specifically say when it occurred, just that that's been the process.
All right.
And we can actually even update our ordinance to specify, like, these are the specific school zones. I also want to clarify that the school zones are 20 miles an hour. Our regular city streets are 25 miles an hour. So there's not really like a big difference, but it is something that, you know, speeding it does create risks to anyone, regardless of whether it's a school zone or not.
Correct.
Thank you.
All right. Is that everything? Yeah. Moving down to unfinished business. We got an ordinance for approve the third and final reading to waive the reading of the ordinance approving planning and zoning application PZ 26-03-001 regarding vacation of public right-of-way on Miller Street and Bennett Street. Okay. Councilman Patterson.
Move to approve the third and final reading and waive the reading of the ordinance approving planning and zoning application PZ 26-03-001, vacating the city's streets right-of-way at the intersection of Bennett Street and Miller Street.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Do we have any discussion? All right. Seeing none, we open online voting, please.
Online voting is open. Online voting is closed. The motion passes with 6 yeas.
Thank you. All right, we don't have any new business, so we're going to adjourn this meeting with no further business that needs to be brought before the council. Meeting adjourned at 7:09 p.m. Yeah, well, and yeah, I just thought we'd just take a break automatic before we start the next one.
Gotta
Sorry.
tell us when to start.
All right, yeah, we'll come back for the next, the work session at 7:10, or 7:20, sorry.
20? Okay.
7:10.
Yeah, I know.
That could be short.
I was thinking 10 minutes.
Short.
Did a great job. I wonder how many proclamations they have for you now.
That was rough.
Leaving the sound on to discuss stuff.
I'm just glad there weren't giant words in the educational one. Oh yeah, sorry. I'm gonna move this because
I give it to Matt to take
I'll give it
care
to
of.
Matt.
And then card so you can
Review
contact
the
my
agenda,
office.
and then it says proposed budget,
Set up the meeting, chat,
and then that's the whole. It takes, it's 170. Cover all of them tonight.
The 19th, so for the next week or two.
What were you gonna say?
As a previous school member, my first term, we had this whole discussion of priced out between kids like moving in and out of the district. If there happened to be an adult following the rules, or you got one of those from the county sheriff, they'd have to change it.
Exactly.
If there wasn't a sped bus and so many moving parts, we kind of did a cost analysis. I don't know what they're doing now, because they also have school board, but, oh my gosh, that was a big discussion, because, you know,
Right?
or it's a bad day, and maybe, yeah.
When I remember when we had it was 2008, I think, the snow, a really bad snow. They moved a bunch of them because they couldn't get to where the actual pickup point was. So they moved them.
And on top of that, that's
But
one
then,
more.
but that's when they just kept going there, and they never stopped. There's no bus stop in front of Ace Harbor. There isn't, but a bus stops there every day.
No, there's one on the list.
That's on the list, there's no sign.
Wait, because we stopped signing them years ago.
Right, so somebody who's driving through the area is a ticket for
Right,
driving
so-
through a bus zone.
Shouldn't get a ticket, they should just
They
stop
do
when the
get a
thing.
ticket, and they got the add-on to the ticket for being a bus. So, no bus, no school, no nothing. This particular school zone is no longer there. It's no longer there.
The signs came down.
It doesn't matter, they did the add-on.
I'm moving here, then we can stop.
You can take, you can
You
take
take that south side school?
And Mountain View both.
Oh, I am, that's right, yeah.
So, get a ticket for speeding. No bombs, you're right. Get the add-on. There's no school zone there. And I think they actually got the add-on for being in a bus. Yeah. It's an add-on for being in the school. Loading, bus loading. And there's
If they went around it, they did.
no, there was no bus. No, 3 o'clock in the morning.
I have to keep shivering my door.
So, yeah, so
I don't
Christie
have-
said, Friday was good.
Oh, yeah, we had,
Did you go listen to some good sessions too? Did you go?
we were right there where we could hear everything that was being talked about almost.
That was perfect.
With security, of course, you know, Christie and me. We learned a lot about this. I just sitting there looking for 5 hours something.
Yeah.
Their love of chicken.
Or love of chickens?
North Carolina is the largest chicken producer in the world. The state.
Well, they hope
Yeah. We haven't decided, I need to find out at our meeting tomorrow. We're gonna go to the 19th and 20th.
We're not voting on anything, so we probably can't put the computer away.
Yeah, unless you want to see what they got up there on here.
Oh,
That's why I like to bring them.
We're gonna bring,
I
I don't
told them
know.
to make sure they had hard copies in front of me, because I'm not, I go blind looking at the computer. My eyesight ain't great.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to watch till.
Now that you're a pro on the booth.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much.
Pro
Let
on
me
the
make a chance, please.
Pro on the booth.
Pro on the booth.
Here's some information to get away from.
Look, that falls off the wall, I've done that too.
Oh, yeah, the thing, it's hung upside down.
This is from Andy Village.
Much better than trying to line
BLM, yeah. So I left some notes to him. Plus some anyone in the city may want to go out and do this. And then they want a couple of council people together. I'm gonna go. Right, I'll go, because I want to go, okay? And then the other part was, dump fees. Now, I don't know if we charge them. I don't know if we've ever charged them dump fees. So this would be just a question about the way the dump.
All the stuff that's cleaned up.
I got this one received, I got this for sale.
Okay, but we'd have to ask that question. Now, Myron had brought up earlier, it's our line
I got 4,000 in transmission alone.
It's hard to sell them anymore, it costs very much money to do anything.
Oh, hell yeah.
So,
Yeah, we can't just arbitrarily say, yes, we're gonna do it.
I went in and tried building one nowadays.
You still have your truck, your long bed?
I still got that 75 long bed from my dad's.
Yeah.
It needs to be done. I got a box in the capital across the street still.
Different groups.
I just start picking everything up, painting, and everything else. And you get into stuff like rubber stripping and different shit.
Oh, yeah, it'll cost forever. You can spend 20 years fixing up the same vehicle.
I thought that the cleanup thing was normally on this Saturday, I'm doing cleanup in town for the DPW. But 90% of my work is on Friday, the day. So I won't want to miss it either that day, because that's when they bring in the big meetings. They bring in Williams and Sinclair and all these people, and they go out and do the big work. Is on that Saturday, but I've already done all the stuff. So these will be questions, I just want to talk about this. All of it's for people to come out on Saturday.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Okay.
Just make sure.
Okay.
June 6th, that's on a Saturday, so.
Better eat them. Take them home.
How many pans of brownies did you make?
27.
Holy.
First batch or the second batch?
That's a lot. That's a lot of brownies.
Huh?
27 pans.
Pans? No. I thought you said how many did I make? 27 is how many I made.
I thought you said pants too.
Pans, yeah, that's what I thought.
You were doing some brownies,
Pans.
weren't you?
I mean, I have made pans, but no, I didn't make 27.
I was gonna say, you
Can you
didn't,
imagine?
Pans
I was gonna say, you didn't just make them for the meeting that night, did you?
They didn't get there for some reason.
And say, what happened to all the rest of it? Yeah, what happened to all the
No,
rest?
27 of them.
All right,
So not, 3 people.
we got everybody back?
Thank you.
Do we want to wait for anybody else, or are we good to go? All right.
It's,
I've never done a work session, so we'll call
Yeah,
the work
well.
session to order. And then discussing the reviewing of the fiscal year 2027 budgets for the city council, city manager's office, community development, fire department, and city attorney. I'll hand it over to you guys.
Great. Thank you, Vice Mayor, Council. I'm very grateful that after you guys hired me in October, you hired Laura, or we hired Laura. So it's been good to work with her. She's met with every department head many times more than once, including staff, and so she's kept us all in line. And like I said, I'd been reviewing it with me. She's kind of making sure I toe the line, and that's been challenging at times and stuff. So, but anyway, I think I'd be confident with the work we put together here on the table. It comes from a lot of man hours, both from the finance department as well as our department heads. And like tonight, let us know if any questions, as Laura will probably go through. This is a largely discussion in nature for these first few departments. And, buckle up. We'll have 2 more of these after this. So anyway, with that, I'll turn it over to Laura.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor, Honorable Council, it is my honor tonight to present to you the fiscal year 2027 budget. So tonight we're going to go through a little bit of an introduction, first of all, to the budget process. We're also going to cover an overview of the 27 general fund. And the departments that we'll present tonight include the city manager's office, which also includes the council budget, the municipal court, our IT department, our human resources, our finance, community development, fire, and the attorney's office. So we do have a lot on the agenda tonight, and we have a lot on the agenda for the next 3 sessions. So bear with us and keep that in mind. Our upcoming dates, of course, are this coming Thursday on the 7th, Monday the 11th, and next Thursday the 14th, and then that's followed by 3 reads of the budget, which are our next 3 council sessions after that. The primary objective of a work session is to make it a little bit of a discussion, to make sure all of your questions are answered regarding this budget. So please feel free to ask questions of our department heads as they come up. We did work really hard on this, and I'm actually really excited to present it to all of you. I would ask that you please ask questions of the department heads as they present. And I have asked all the department heads to be available Monday night, so that if you have any last minute questions, like I said, our objective is to make sure all of your questions are answered. Please, please, please ask them. Throughout the year, of course, we are always happy in the finance department. I know the city manager is also happy to answer these questions. So please feel free to come and talk to us throughout the year. We're happy to fill you in on the process and things that are going on behind the scenes. Lastly, I would like to thank all of our staff for their input. I don't think there is a single member of our city that escaped my questions. I was in at 7 o'clock in the morning many days and asking our custodians questions. So literally no one escaped our questions. So I would definitely like for council to please acknowledge the staff work that goes into this. They put a lot of time into it and then throughout the year trying to keep on track for the budget. So next, a little introduction to the budget process. There are a list of legal requirements that go into a municipal budget. Some of them that I looked at include Wyoming State Statutes 15.2.201 and 16.4.104. They outline that on May 1st, all the budget requests have to be into the budget officer, which is myself. Ours was done long before May 1st. Our date was actually sometime back in March when we were doing our independent interviews with the staff. On May 15th, a tentative budget has to be filed with the governing body. So on May 15th, I will make sure that that is filed with all of you for that first read on May 19th. And then, of course, the final day to hold a budget session and approve the budget for the next fiscal year. This year lands on June 16th. It's the third Tuesday of June every year. So it must be passed by midnight that night, as long as that takes. Budget appropriations have to be approved before we can begin spending. Hence the reason for that the state statute puts a date in there. Our state, for example, doesn't necessarily have a date per se. It just says it has to be before the fiscal year starts. The city of Rawlins has instituted that they use a zero budget. This is a budget in which the revenue and expenditures always sum to zero at the end. Revenues can use a fund reserve in order to pay additional expenses, and expenditures can include additions to investments as well in order to make it balance to zero. And the budget can be changed due to circumstances at any time throughout the fiscal year. This does require often an approval from council as well as a public hearing. However, if the budget amendment does not create a fund balance for the worst, meaning that you will lose money in your fund, it does not require council approval. Only requires the city manager approval. Few policies that set that direction are our purchasing policy that was approved February 4th of 2025, the investment policy approved July 15th of 2025. And additionally, the debt philosophy, fund balance philosophy, and budget philosophy that are approved every year with the budget. Last year, these were approved June 9th. And the purchasing policy, as well as the job description of the city manager, specifically assigns line item spending to the city manager, meaning the council approves the overall budget of the city, does not necessarily approve the exact line items that we spend in. And there are a few challenges, of course, with every budget year. One of them being what they call legacy costs. Legacy costs are ongoing costs. These often include our pensions and our time off that we pay employees, because they're continuously ongoing and we are required to pay them because they were within our policies at the time they were done. Also, our aging infrastructure. This means that our infrastructure requires more maintenance costs. There's a lot more costs involved in repairing things. So this is often a challenge, and it is especially a challenge for us. Attracting and retaining staff. Rawlins is kind of isolated, but I think Wyoming as a whole is having issues with this. Keeping our young people in Wyoming has been a challenge, and there's a number of organizations trying to deal with that challenge. Technology is ever changing. It's also extremely expensive to train, to purchase, and to implement. And of course, our regulatory and legislative changes. These are the things that are completely out of our control. We just have to follow when they happen. Are there any questions on any of that anybody would like to discuss? Okay. Moving on to the financial environment right now. There were a few legislature changes within Wyoming. We all know in 2025, property tax exemptions were passed. And in 2026, the new bills that were put up all died in some form. However, I think we can expect this to continue in discussions, as it has on a nationwide scale at this point. In 2026, House Bill 107 streamlined our direct distribution to cities. It raised our ultimate expected distribution, but it also changed the calculation to make it a little bit more unexpected or more difficult to predict. That's a better word. Also, Senate Bill 32 allows the study of the Next Gen 911. This might open some possible grants and implementations for next year for our 911 system. That's to be determined, but at this point in time, that is a priority for our state. There was a bill put up for surface water runoff. It was never considered. However, that subject is in litigation in both Laramie and Cheyenne. Both of those cities are working to negotiate right now with our legislature. And of course, the no more pennies. This has been a hot topic in the press, and here in Rawlins, we haven't had any issues getting pennies. And at this point, we have not changed our processes as a result. But these are just examples of things we watched in 2026 so that we could move forward with our budget process. And of course, a few changes within Rawlins. We did hire a new city manager and of course, myself as the finance director. This will lead to, both he and I have a desire to make some budget processes and all of the related processes as transparent as possible. We want all of you and the public to understand what we're doing, what we're spending, and how the city works. We're also conducting a review of our city policies and procedures. These new policies can be created and implemented. New procedures will be put into place. Technology changes are being made and will continue to be made. Of course, you have an assurance that your revenues are being received according to your rules and fee schedules. And of course, always, new people brings fresh perspectives to the whole process. Do we have any questions thus far? Okay. Few revenue assumptions had to be made because, of course, as is the nature of taxes, there is no way to say exactly how many taxes you're going to receive at any one time. I make a lot of assumptions with revenues, and a lot of historical research goes into them. So first, of course, was our direct distribution. Right now, it appears that it'll increase a little over $124,000 for the next 2 years. That would apply biannually according to the state statute that was passed. When it came to oil and minerals, I looked at the Craig report. That is our Wyoming economics group. Oil right now is on the decline due to the unseasonable warmth that we had all year. I know today is a really poor example of that. But we all know that that has caused a decrease in the heating demand, and of course, minerals are expected to remain flat as a result of all of that. Property tax, right now there's no new changes, but we can anticipate future discussion again. When it came to our charges for service, these are the charges that we charge for people to attend our rec center, for people to attend our events, et cetera, et cetera. These I expect to remain relatively flat. There are some minor fee changes in specific departments that we will discuss, but most of these are not going to be enough to create any overall changes in our revenue. And of course, our investment income. One of the first things I was assigned when I was hired in November was to work on this investment policy implementation. The policy, of course, had already been passed, but not implemented. I have gone ahead and implemented it, and it has caused an increase, if you watch our financials on the month-to-month, in our passive incomes. And we do expect that to continue. I would like to talk a little bit about fund balance and reserves, and this is a topic of discussion that I hear a lot amongst council and the staff. You can refer to page 43 of your budget book for a little bit more information, but I did want to talk a little bit more in detail about this. So this is our general fund right now and anticipated reserves. What happens here is the fund balance is a combination of numbers that comes directly from our audit. It includes basically all of our total assets. Assets are not always spendable cash. In fact, the vast majority of them are in capital. The capital balance for fiscal year 2026, at the end, I take our historical value and subtract the life of the depreciation of every asset. in order to come up with a new value. That is your capital value at the end of the year. That should leave you with the balance of what you technically have in cash. So you can see that what I did here on the general fund, coming into 2026, and according to our audit report, we had $28,623 and change in our fund balance for the general fund. However, in capital at the end of 2026, I expect we will have $19,522 and change just in capital. This is not spendable money. From there, we have to look at what is restricted of our cash. In the general fund, restricted money includes Bolton Park and our perpetual care for the cemetery. Both of those are restricted by purpose and at this time cannot be unrestricted. Then we have to look at what's considered unspendable. Unspendable are designations by council or city staff that mean the money cannot be spent. In the general fund, this includes a tech replacement and a fleet replacement policy, as well as our capital project funds. All three of these are part of the investment policy passed last July. That leaves us with a spendable amount of money. However, one thing that is not covered yet in here is the other part of the investment policy that says 9 months of your budget needs to be set aside in an investment account. 9 months of spending for 2027 is about $10 million. You can see that leaves us with a bit of a shortfall. So in actual spendable reserves right now in the general fund, we are a negative. I did the same process with our enterprise funds. I took our fund balance from 25, our capital at the end of 26, to leave us with our cash. From here, we have restricted money. This includes a loan match in investments. This is an Ohio Star account, and we cannot unrestrict it until such time as the loans are paid. The unspendable amount in the general fund, excuse me, I can't read my notes now, was, their fleet replacement and tech replacement. They currently do not have a capital replacement in enterprise funds. If you take their expected amounts in 2027, we still need $6.6 million in order to cover the 9 months investment, which also leaves the enterprise funds in a negative spendable amount. Right now, this is what our general fund revenue looks like for 2027. This is page 1. I couldn't make it fit all on one slide. This takes all of our expected revenues, it kind of groups them together and comes up with some differences. One thing I would like to point out, my predecessor and I did not necessarily have the same way of grouping things. So that is actually the result of most of the differences you see. We simply didn't think the same way in our groupings. At the end of slide 2, I apologize. It's at the top of slide 1, is the total of the general fund revenue. Right now, for 2027, we predict it would be $13,338,000 and change. This is a little bit of an increase over 2026, of about 3.5% in fact. And there's a lot of reasons for that, a few being that my predictions went up and down based on different funds. So do we have any questions specific to any of the revenues or how the reserves are calculated? Okay then. What you're looking at now is our actual full general fund budget. So this is now our estimated revenues, falls at the top. And after that, every city department within the general fund, this does not include enterprise funds, is lined out for what we expect to spend in those different categories. These are the ones you're going to hear from as we go through tonight and Thursday night to talk about these budgets and in a little bit more detail. And I did include a little bit of a graph that shows our revenue by fund. This was just kind of good information. Our general fund is, of course, the largest fund we have. It contains about 53% of our revenues is in the general fund. After that, it kind of tapers down depending on exactly which fund you're talking about. But most of them stay now in the single digits. And on the next slide, you see our expenditures by fund in the same manner. Again, the general fund is the highest at 34%. With this one, some of the others come up a little bit more because they're designated for capital costs, which does cost money. And of course, our enterprise funds cost a little bit more than they bring in revenue. And then I did kind of cover what our general fund expenditures look like by department. You can kind of see the different variations of every department we have within the city and how much money they are spending. All right, if there's no questions on any of that, we can get into our departments.
Laura, if we see something on the budget, and we disagree with it, how would we then give you or Matt that information to possibly change it on the budget that you created?
Simply talk to us.
Okay, thank you. Is there a deadline to that?
Definitely by the first read, because I have to provide you with the temporary budget by May 15th. So before that.
Okay, thank you.
Just to be clear, any changes in the budget has to be approved by the entire council, not just one council person.
Correct.
Just so we're all on the same page.
Yes. Anything else on all of that? And we can get into departments. Okay. So we're going to start with our city council. So this is the budget that we have prepared for all of you. A little bit about your job description. You are 7 elected officials. You have a mayor, a vice mayor, and 5 councilmen and women. You are the legislative body of the city. You represent the residents, enact municipal code, oversee the budget, which is why we're here tonight, and guide municipal policy and services, which is a byproduct of why we're here tonight. A couple things I noted, and I wasn't able to poll everybody on what kind of happened in 2026, especially prior to my arrival. But I did kind of scour board docs a little bit and see what was happening. It looks like you approved the investment policy, as we've already discussed. You've also approved several building code changes, approved the purchase of several city necessities, including equipment, and we thank you for that. You also approved your grant applications and make the city's financial place a little bit better. This is the budget that we have kind of outlined for you guys. Included in your budget is your salaries, the obligations that we have to pay, of course, for payroll taxes and workers' comp. We do have a little bit of a line item for travel and training, as well as your publications that you have to make in the papers and things like that. And then you do have a little bit of a miscellaneous line item as well. This budget has stayed relatively flat. There's very few changes to it. Anything on the council budget? Next, we have our city manager's office. The city manager's office includes the city manager, of course, the city, I'm sorry, I lost the word for a half second, the city clerk, as well as our communications officer. It also includes IT, HR, and our municipal court also directly report to the city manager. Is there anything you want to say on the city manager's office?
No, that covers it.
Okay.
That's who they are.
That's who they are. Here's kind of some areas of focus for the city manager's office. It's the overall operations of the city. They provide administrative council support and records retention. Of course, there's communication with the public. IT works for the entire city and is in charge of all of our electronic records. As well as our city staff resources and records is our HR department, and we have administrative support for our court and the collection of judgments. A few wins in the last year. A city manager was of course hired. The IT department is a very new department for us, and so that was created. HR software has been implemented and, well, I should say purchased and is being implemented in order to cover salary increases, reviews, and of course keep up with records retentions. They're also working on some updates to our court software that will hopefully make that processing judgments a little bit better. And the utility inserts have also been updated. This is the city manager's budget. The staff in this particular budget only includes the city manager, the communications officer, and the city clerk, as well as all of their benefits and obligations. They have some travel and training. There's some public communications in there, and some, of course, supplies and things like that that they need. Are there any comments to this budget?
Could you give us a brief description of the IT department, what it was before you came on and what was created
I
after?
certainly can. We're going to cover the IT budget in just a moment.
Okay.
And I'm actually
And
going
go
to cover
over that?
Yes.
Thanks.
Anything else? So IT is in fact the next slide.
There you go. I am ahead of the curve.
Thank you for that intro. So the IT department used to contain just contractual services.
Yeah.
There was also a line item in there for the equipment as well as some software renewals. My predecessor was trying to switch a lot of that into department-specific expenses. I would personally like to see the information technology department become more of an internal service fund. That way they can bill out their time to the different funds throughout the city, including the enterprise funds, and get a little bit more return to the general fund by doing that. Any other questions on our IT staff?
So what was it in the past compared to now?
So in the past, it was strictly contractual services. It was an outside service that we used from, I think they come from Colorado,
Right.
is that right? Yeah.
So we hired somebody to be here, or is it
So they
still
would come here
contractual?
1 day a week, and they were strictly contractual. They were not hired.
Right, but now what we
And
have,
now we have hired somebody as a staff person on site. So this is going to help in our operations, someone on site to be able to help when problems come up and we don't have to wait for a week for our contractual services to show up. Updates can be done on a more regular basis, and we don't have to schedule those appointments.
how did we do that budget-wise? If we had it budgeted just for a contractor, how did we change that to just a person? It was significantly cheaper, or?
A little bit of cheaper. It also allowed us, though, a variety of services that we didn't have before. Like I said, things now don't have to be scheduled. We can simply go and tell him, hey, our accounting software needs an update, and he can schedule it for that week, rather than waiting for someone to show up and maybe they can fit it into their schedule. Also, when we do have computer problems, we do have people throughout the city who aren't the most computer literate, as is how most organizations work. I see one raising his hand. Our IT person is on hand and can respond immediately and be able to take care of issues. He's already dealt with a few issues of spam emails that came through where people then got viruses on their computer because they clicked something they shouldn't have.
Right.
Where ordinarily before that, we would have just had to shut that person down for however long it took our contract services to get around to being able to help us.
Okay. So the software, I see that went, I know that before we were looking at a whole new software and then we stopped, we're going back. And how much money did that save us? Or did it save us?
So that particular software, and my understanding of it is a little bit limited. But my understanding is that it was intended, we made several payments as a city to a group in order to scratch build that particular, it was the accounting software. I have not followed through with that particular plan, partly because it is a scratch-based program and I can't start building what someone else had previously started. I would have to start back at square one. Also, this particular software wasn't intended to be city or municipal. It was, they were still asking me what a fund is, for example, which is very specific to government accounting. If that's, and that's something taught in Government Accounting 101. So if they don't understand fund balances and how funds work, it's not something I can work with to help them create a software. So I have stuck with the software we had before. It is called Cassell, and I'm helping to expand that. We're going to work on some training in 2027 with my staff, and we're going to implement some things citywide that will also make those processes better.
So was the contract with them canceled?
Yes.
Without penalty, or did we have to?
It did not have a penalty associated. We have simply canceled it.
Okay. In expanding Castell, does it have a process where employees get approval before they buy something unless it's an emergency?
So employees already have to get approval before they buy something. Employees have to have an approval by their direct supervisor, which is usually the leader of whoever their department is. Then from there, it goes to me to approve. And if it's over a certain dollar value, it then goes to the city manager to approve.
So does Castell allow that to be automated rather than paper trail?
Yes, and that will be one of the things I am working on once I've gotten through the budget process.
Thank you.
Anything else on IT related? All right. Moving on to human resources. So our human resources department is staffed by one person. It includes her benefits and obligations. We do have a little bit of money in here for some things that can't be departmentalized, such as unemployment. The city does not pay unemployment based on paychecks like most companies do. We work under a deductible type plan that's allowed by the state. But because of that, it means that when there are claims, we do have to pay out. We don't assign those to the specific departments, especially in the budget, because it would be impossible to determine which departments would have to pay out. So we do put a little bit of money in there with the expectation that it is a possibility. We do have a little bit of testing in there, medical testing, as well as drug and alcohol screening, and of course there's some personality assessments. We have several departments. The police department is one example where we have to perform specialized tests of employees before we can bring them on board as hired staff. We do have a little bit of a budget for some employee appreciation, as well as a safety line item and some software renewal specific to HR.
Councilman Singer?
We're moving around.
I
here.
see that.
Does Cassell have an HR module?
It does, but it does not have a sophisticated module that allows us to keep up with anything more than how it relates to payroll records.
Councilman Loom?
So, for human resource, I know before we had more of a human resource assistant, where she was more in charge of just the paperwork of everything. So my question is this human resources, what is the job description?
So, Councilmember Lumen, so it does encompass most of what a human resource officer would do for the city. And so I think you'll find that at least with the needs of that on a day-to-day basis, with the hiring, firings, keeping track of those things, it's well within the sphere of this individual. What we also had purchased is some performance evaluation software and stuff to that we're implementing slowly, but to try and get around to that's going to directly help her out as well as the entire department heads and staff when they talk about doing merit increases and step increases and stuff like that. And there's also a relatively decent user interface, AI component things, and so they're kind of helping back her up a little bit.
Will she have the education and training to keep up with HR laws and rules as they?
She'll have to continue to do the continuing education in order to keep those relevant certificates, yeah.
Also, I see that the consultant info tech, what was that? And the budgets for that's been taken off. Is that a different program or something that we used to use?
I looked through what they have previously put in that particular line item. It often included different types of software over the years. I switched to the line item of software renewals rather than infotech, which seemed to make more sense to me.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, we had froze the position for the HR director. I know we talked about unfreezing that at some point. Is there any way to get some numbers on what that would look like if that was put back into place? Is this something that you would like to see put back in place?
So we could generate that. I mean, obviously, Laura and I talked about that. I think that how it's kind of organized right now, I like the fact that we have this kind of administrative services kind of department in play. Currently, I'm sitting in that position, kind of as that department head. I kind of want to see just what we're kind of working with and how maybe we can evolve a little bit with some of the personnel within those areas to see if we end up needing something like that or if it's an option to just keep it in place. It's some of what I think that we've been working through as far as like some of the stuff that was kind of done, especially with IT and just how these things kind of had come up through different points of the year, things that there's some specifics that we're still trying to work through, even with the IT and stuff, just to try and see where all that kind of is and how it was left.
Out of land.
Yeah, and I think that once we get there, I think particularly with the IT and also with the human resources, I think we'll see we can get some savings and even some workability with, like Laura's gotten really into using Cassell with a lot of these things, particularly with finance and as well as some of the human resource sides of things. I think that's gonna maybe shore up maybe at least some of the issues that we kind of are uncovering at times. But I think that I like this. I think that if we get into a point, especially as we get into fiscal year 2027, if we want to revisit some things, I know we can always do kind of a budget amendment, and as well as to see what kind of the carryover funds are, or if there are any. But at least we kind of find that we found this operation kind of with finance, with HR, kind of as is, and so we want to try and make it see how it can function. Now, granted, we did hire an IT guy because I actually do believe that that's what this size organization does need, is somebody that can interact on a daily basis with all of our staff. I do think that as he starts to come around, and he is working with Networks Unlimited, with our IT provider, service provider, and that when we meet with them in July, if we find that we don't need as much as their personnel service, like the people coming down from Casper, then we'll be able to offset that contract. So, we'll have Taylor working, and as he kind of progresses and he's been working with the Networks Unlimited, then that takes our service obligation that we would have to pay them on a monthly basis down. And so that's where we're kind of at with those two things kind of in particular. And like I said, there's still some things that have been a little bit frustrating when some of these annual costs have come up, and some of them were going to automatically renewed. We don't even know how how to get a hold of some of these places and how to try and input even our staff into it. So we've got to wait for some of those to come back to that renew, and then we assess with whether they're going to be worth that service or whether we can pivot to Networks Unlimited even, and with using Taylor to try and maybe eliminate that cost that we were paying before.
The concern with the HR, one of the reasons we looked at freezing it was your upper level staff that reports to you, if it's a conflict with their management, how to mitigate that. And I think that's always been the biggest concern and why we want that HR position. So
Well, we have that HR position that can do that. Now, is there someone out there in the ether that's specialist that might be better? Maybe. But at least for as the legal aspects, we're covered on that.
you are covered.
Yeah.
So with this position, that is
The one that we have.
currently
Yeah.
is covered. Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know, because I don't think that was ever presented to us that way.
I mean, I will double check for
Okay.
sure on that, but as far as, and I've got no input otherwise from, I haven't talked to the city attorney directly about that, but that certainly is, I'll follow up with that and make sure that that's the case.
So the HR manual that's as old as dirt, is that going to be revised? Is she going to be able to take on that project?
Great question. We're actually have been doing that, and she and I have been working on it probably 3 months now. Just, it's taken time, because I've gotten her to meet with the department heads, with some of the ones that can be a little more technically challenging. And,
Okay.
and we do have those things, and our idea is to try and bring something back in here. I'd like to do it as soon, even within kind of this budget cycle, but I think, of course, once she gets all the inputs that some of those departments have had, then we take it to the city attorney and have her kind of work through it, and then get her feedback, and then that's when we'll bring it back to council.
And I know we added, I don't know, amendment, ordinance, whatever it was called, a procedure if an employee had a problem with the manager, how that process would work, and what would be done with that. That would definitely need to be added into the HR manual.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's there or discussed if a employee has a problem with a city council member. But then that's
Now you're in
a
where you
weird
have some odd ones,
line.
yeah.
But I'll look forward to that. I think in the past, the assistant was seen as more, the employees weren't able to go to her in confidence and say what was needed. I don't know exactly what the problem was, and maybe it was because she was treated more as admin than an actual position. What is her actual title?
I believe it's HR, Human Resource Specialist.
Specialist.
Yeah.
So,
Councilmember Lehman, yes. I think that I was alluding a little bit kind of to that, at least with the IT and with the human resource side. And I'll be happy to talk about you offline a little bit. We can talk about maybe what was done previously versus I think that maybe a vision that even I'm kind of sharing with the council as far as what that should look like going forward. And I would say that's the direction we're moving as far as to make sure we have some of those things a little bit better and a little more transparent, have that structure in place so we can avoid any unnecessary lawsuits or misunderstandings maybe it'd be for staff and department
it would
heads
be
and even council.
very positive move to get the HR manual updated.
I agree.
And have her a part of that. I think that would be very beneficial. Where that's, she's not focused on just the admin part of it. Thank you.
Anything else? All right. Next up is our municipal court budget. So our municipal court, the actual judge is, while his salary is placed here, he reports directly to council. However, we do have a municipal court clerical person. She maintains all of the judgments, and she's who everybody pays when they come here into City Hall to pay those. So this also includes both salaries for those positions as well as benefits and obligations for them. We do have some jailing expenses here because, of course, when we do have to have someone jailed, we do have to pay the jail a portion of money in order to keep someone there. We also have a little bit of legal expenses that go into there that relate to our court systems. In addition there, she does have a little bit of software that we are looking at updating for the judges' chambers, ones that will help her get private information scanned. Right now she's using a public copy room to scan in information that really should be kept a little bit more confidential into that particular program. So we are looking at a scanner for her that can keep all of that a little bit more confidential. Other than that, this budget also stayed relatively flat. Any questions on our municipal court?
Councilman Lumen?
Salaries and wages, it is budgeted for 91 and actual 129. What's the increase in there? Is it a hiring of somebody or?
Actually, nope, it is the same number of people. It is just strictly how the numbers worked out. I can't explain why the budget was the way it was last year.
Okay.
I'm not sure if perhaps different salaries were budgeted. I don't know that answer.
I can answer that. Last year, in the switchover when Gail was retiring and Stacy was coming back over, Nikki came back in to assist, and so that increased that salary. So
okay.
There are 2.25 employees there in that.
Thank you. Thank
Last
you.
year it was just the two.
Makes sense.
Okay. Thank you for that input. I didn't know that information.
Thank you.
Anything else on our municipal court? All right then. And next we will move on to our finance team. In finance, we serve as the collection point of all of our city's revenue, including our utilities department. We disperse all of the payments for the entire city, and we ensure fiscal compliance, including the audit and the budget. This year, some pros for us. We worked and got the timely submission of our fiscal year 2025 audit, despite some many challenges. The implementation of the investment policy that you all passed, and multiple software upgrades that will work with every staff member and every department, including right now electronic pay stubs that will lead to electronic W-2s for our staff. And then we will see lots of accounts payable integrations that will make that process a little bit more electronic and easily trackable. As well as some ways that we are going to use our software to work with every department in the city for everything from our licenses and forms like that people pay fees for. So there's going to be quite a bit of changes in that process. This is our finance budget. Finance includes our accounts payable clerk and accounts receivable clerk, the assistant finance director, and of course myself as the finance director. It includes the salaries for us as well as our benefits and obligations. We do have some money in there for our travel and trainings, as well as a lot of supplies that we generally use. So anything on our finance department?
Councilman Singer?
This is all under Cassell,
Yes.
okay? And are these modules within the finance department in Cassell that allow you to now track POs and things
Yes.
like that?
Yes, there are already items that we actually have paid for within Cassell as one of the modules, and so now we're just going to implement modules that we already pay for.
So they're already part of our cost,
They're already part of our costs.
but not used?
Correct.
All right. Okay.
Councilman?
Just out of curiosity, I know how computers work. Are we needing to also look in our budget to start replacing some computers in different departments?
So that is something within our IT department at this time. We actually have undergone quite an analysis with our new IT person who did an analysis citywide. We determined that in 27, there isn't a whole lot of actual equipment that needs to be replaced. We've already upgraded our servers in 2026's budget, as was budgeted last year. So those things have already been done, and now there's really not any more equipment to replace in the immediate.
Okay, I know you start updating computers, the old computers don't want to talk to new computers, right? Yeah, I know that works. Okay, I just didn't want to get surprised that next thing we find out we got to replace a pile of computers.
Anything else in finance? Okay. There are a couple of fee structures within that directly affect the finance department. They're kind of an administrative fees. In your book, under supplemental, I put our current fee, entire fee structure in there. And I do talk about a few changes that we would like to suggest for council. The ones that are under administrative, specifically on page 153, we have our taxi cab fees. When we did our analysis, the fees look all right, but one thing when I asked staff, multiple people, they could not actually tell me whether or not Lyft and Uber were included as a taxi cab. And so we would ask that council please redefine within your fee structure whether or not Uber and Lyft are included as a taxi cab. Because right now, if one came to us, we can't charge them a fee.
What does that look like legally? Is there legal wording to, I don't want to mention, put their name on there, but how do you define the
I'm not sure. I'll
Uber?
have to do some research to determine how they are characterized in other jurisdictions, whether they are considered a taxi cab or if they're considered like a more for hire type of limo service. I really don't know, so I will look into that.
Do you have fees for limo service?
No, but I mean,
Oh,
but others
don't. Others do, okay.
Yeah.
Councilman Singer?
I think the better question is, you've seen a limo?
A limo.
So, does our taxi cabs, they pay a business license fee?
It's not called a business license, but it is a license in order to operate as a taxi cab within the city.
Does Uber and Lyft also have this restriction?
I'm sorry.
Well, they're
Right now,
operating
not.
as a taxi cab. Do
Right,
they have to
so-
have that same license? Or,
Oh, I see. That would be up to city council.
okay.
Whether
So
or not
currently
they
the
qualify
answer's,
under the same.
so
Yes.
currently the answer's no.
Yeah, because it's not distinguished, we can't
Okay.
do anything.
I mean, the question then also might naturally expand to, what about DoorDash? Maybe you're not delivering people, but you're delivering something with that. Does that, and some people do Uber the food delivery, and then they also do Uber, like,
Eats. It's
driving.
called-
How does that translate? And so I'm happy to look into distinctions and how other jurisdictions have characterized that.
Councilman Singer?
So do our cabs deliver food?
Yeah, they do sometimes,
Okay.
and they also pick up booze, and they do all kinds of things.
They'll deliver booze, they'll deliver anything you want.
Well, let's make a call. No, I'm just kidding. Kidding.
Okay, get yourself in trouble, Mr. Singer.
Go outside, kidding.
Oh.
On page 154, one of our staff recommendations was on credit card processing. Right now, the city pays for all credit card processing fees that come into the city. Regardless of whether or not you are swiping your credit card over here at the municipal court to pay your fine, or whether you're buying a building fee, or whether you are paying your water bill, the city's general fund is covering all of those fees. I did do quite a bit of extensive research, and I actually found that this was mentioned in your council session last year. And it sounded like you were trying to do possibly some research with the city on figuring out how to make that process so that you guys can charge those fees. Fortunately for you, I have those answers, and I have actually changed these fees in the last 2 places I've worked.
Councilman Singer?
how do I say this? Can the city pay that fee on behalf of a citizen?
Legally speaking, there is no preclusion for the city not to pay credit card processing fees. They can make the choice, like any other company can, to absorb the fees or pass them on.
So just to be clear, your suggestion is, if I have a $10 bill, it'd be $10 if I paid cash, $10 if I paid check, but if I pay by a credit card, yeah, the 2.5%.
A 2.5% convenience fee, yes.
Councilman Sealer?
Most all your county facilities are that way and everything else. Even several businesses in Rawlins has got that way now. But if you use a debit card, it don't get charged.
Correct, because
Debit
debit
cards,
cards do
yes.
not charge the same
Yes.
processing fee on the backside through Visa,
Yes.
MasterCard, et
Yes.
cetera, that a
No.
credit card does.
It's just credit cards. So
Does our police department take debit cards?
Our police department does not take any revenue in, it would go through our municipal court.
No, if they're paying bond or something, do they
It
take?
all goes through the municipal court.
And does it take
And
cards?
they do take credit
Okay.
cards. And so I did line out in the discussion on page 154, how much money actually goes through that, those particular circuits. And I believe that one was somewhere around $8,000 a year.
Yeah.
Councilman Sanger?
Let her answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the municipal court last year was $12,433 in processing fees that the city paid for people to pay their fines. And that also included the rec center, the golf, and the shooting fees, in which people, we paid $10,910 in processing fees last year. And then in our general fund, processing fees, those are our building fees and things like that, it was $6,584 last year in processing fees.
Councilman Sanger?
So those fees, they're actually two separate things. One of them is the actual, if it's a credit card, it's interest, but there's a swiping fee. To swipe the card costs a fee.
Yes.
It doesn't matter whether it's a debit card or a credit card, you're paying a dime or whatever it used to be.
Right.
You paid a dime to swipe the card because the processor, not the person paying the bill, just the one with the transaction.
Correct. This is a processing fee that I am referring to.
Okay.
Not an interest fee, because interest is paid to the credit card company by whoever has that card.
So if we're using debit cards, if we take a debit card, you can still charge a fee for the use of the card because you're paying to have.
You can, it's just a slightly different fee on the backside that we pay
Right, but
as a processing fee.
can we charge that though?
We can charge it back if we so choose.
Okay.
When I did this research, I took into account all processing fees. I didn't distinguish because right now our reports don't distinguish between debit cards and credit cards.
Okay.
Councilman Sanger?
So we used to run the concession stands and we never took credit cards, we took cash. And then we started taking them and we went from like 10% to 76% of all transactions were on a card. And that worked out, this is just a concession stand. That was $10,000 in just fees.
Yes.
So we charged that fee.
Right now, no.
No, we did.
Okay, you did.
Yeah,
Okay.
we recovered the fee.
Yes.
As much as I like all those people, I'm not paying $10,000 for them.
It's very expensive.
Yeah.
So, in my recommendation, I did not include enterprise funds. And at this time, the reason for that was that enterprise funds, of course, have to maintain their own, basically, set of books. They have to be able to pay for their own services. So whether we absorb the fees or pass them on, the net result is the same.
Councilman Sanger?
Who chooses that? Us?
As council, yes. It is your
Whether or not
choice.
those fees are, if you're swiping a card,
Yes.
that's
Yes,
a
council-
convenience for you.
Yes,
Right.
correct.
Okay.
Council would have to approve such a fee structure.
Do you have a rough idea what those costs are?
Not on the enterprise funds, I don't. It is a significant number, though, that goes through our express bill pay sites on credit card for utilities.
Thank you.
Anything else on that?
Online, if it goes through a check, They
I
put
will
the
have to
checking
actually
account,
confirm
take
that
that
on the
out?
enterprise side.
Okay.
I will have to confirm that. Right now, we don't do any online checks on the general fund.
right, but to pay the water bill, you can put your
Right,
bank
that's in
account
the
in.
utilities. And that's on the
That's a
utility
check.
side. So
Yeah,
I
okay.
don't know the answer to that offhand, but I can
Okay.
sure have it for you when we talk about our utilities on Monday.
Okay.
Keep that to yourself. The final one that affects the administrative fees was on page 156. We have some public docs research, and then we have special project fees. There's a lot of confusion on staff on what makes it a public docs research versus a special project. So we would ask that council, we're asking that council just take out the public doc research under research and recording and just call it the special projects, and pay those fees accordingly.
Councilman Singer.
To whom does it apply?
Anyone who comes in here and asks us to do some kind of historical research on city records. So if they came in here asking the city clerk for council minutes from 1987, for example, that could be a research fee. But there's confusion as to whether or not that's a research fee or a special project.
Didn't we revise this?
We
Is
revised
this
it.
the one that we revised and it included both, didn't it? It included the hourly for the employee doing the research as well as the
And I did
paper
not-
copies.
I did not find that in our fee structure setup.
Ms. Maber.
Thank you. The distinction is exactly what Laura said. It was if somebody's asking for, hey, I'm looking for some minutes or something that this historical documents, it's going to take staff time to do that. However, there is validity in just removing that and doing it under a public records request because technically it is the same thing. Additionally, in order to simplify the public records request fee structure as well, there is a suggestion to maybe, as the county has done, they've just streamlined rather than, right now we have it as actual staff rate to set a baseline as if it is administrative staff, it is this rate, this flat rate. If it is professional staff, then it's this other rate. That just simplifies what the calculations and estimations might be.
Did Myra come in because of the mics? Should we move a mic back there?
It might be helpful, or at least stand here under the mic here. We got it okay though.
Okay.
Thank you.
Did you get it?
Thank you. Councilman Seeloff?
No.
Oh, you're good? Okay. Thank you.
Anything else on these administrative fees that we?
So we're giving them the book of paper free? That's your suggestion?
No. Actual public document copies are actually also already on the fee schedule right now. Each page, 8.5 by 11 is 75 cents. 11 by 17 is $1 a piece. So the actual copies are an additional charge.
Digital copies, no charge, correct? It's only for the paper and print.
City Attorney, do you have a?
Yeah, thank you, sir. To sort of clarify, the way the process actually works is if somebody asks for, I want copies of our most common is police reports, like copies of a police report. But we still have to print that out in order to scan it or to do other things. So those, any copies that are utilized in completing the request, even if it's ultimately sent digitally, does go into that. Necessarily, we have to account for those supplies that are used. If it's something we can just download and then send electronically and skip the printing pages out process, then they don't get charged the pages. It just depends on what the process is. Unfortunately, not all of our records are digital, which particularly includes more historical records. And then we have to go and find something, or they're in some odd format there. We got several requests for some old zoning maps. Okay, we have zoning maps, but they're, really big. We can't just scan those through a copier. So if they want hard copies that are clear and legible, then those have to get sent out, and there would be third-party fees. So it just kind of depends on what the request is, and we'll follow that.
Thank you.
So if they wanted a copy of some one-page paper thing, then they would just pay for the paper, they wouldn't have to pay the minimum charge for it wouldn't be a special project.
Well, I believe that's what Laura's asking, it does create some confusion, and it creates this for the public, but if we just eliminate the public document research and include anything that's regarding public document research into the entire public records request process, because it truly is, rather than, unless it is a remnant of an old process. It just hasn't gotten removed from the fee schedule.
Because there's a difference if I want a police report versus I want every email from city council concerning this topic from now till 4 years ago.
Well,
right?
Not really. You're still asking for records that are maintained by the governing body or by the city. And so I believe the public document research was an archival, a remnant, a relic from the exact thing of, hey, I'd like to find old minutes from 1957. I have an old deed and want to see what did the council say on this. And I use that example as something that I actually went through. But ultimately, it does come down that it is a public records request. I do want a public records request for those minutes from 1957. So it wouldn't have a negative impact on our process to remove that and just streamline that and incorporate that process where it truly already is in the public records request.
Councilman Sela?
I guess I'm kind of having the same problem I think she's having is if you take that out, then what we go under, then it goes under public documents. If you put in to research one of them, if you find one, we only charge them $1 for one page of it then, instead of $10. So you're going to spend the time to go find the page and all that for $1.
Right.
So why would we eliminate it? Why would? I mean, I can understand if you're going in and finding 100 pages, it'd be a different story. But to go in and find one page for $1, that's a waste of a lot of your time. Why?
Well, it's $10 the first page. So let's just say it's something simple. It's like, oh, I know exactly where that binder is. Simple enough, then you need to disassemble the book and make the copies. But sometimes it's not as simple as knowing where that book is, and it really, truly does turn into a public records request is where is that binder located, where are all those things?
Yeah. So I think the idea here, and certainly what I intended was, if somebody is coming, say, for a police report might take an officer, let's say, 10 minutes to find. The actual cost on 10 minutes of time, or 15 if you round it, is going to be X dollars. It's not actually any more than this $10, and that's what you're going to pay anyway. Whereas if you are asking for something that is going to take hours of work, now you're going to pay more. It's still this actual hourly rate that's under your special projects.
Councilman Singer?
So you were trying to define these as two separate things, one of them being professional. What's the other one?
So just to clarify, the distinction between public document research and public records request, I believe it makes sense to just consolidate those two into the same thing. But in terms of the fee, right now the fee structure is set up as to the actual employee rate of whatever that staff or custodian is, their actual rate. What the county has done is they just have flat fee if it's administrative staff, it's this rate, it's what, $20 or $22. If it's professional staff, it's a different rate, and I don't remember what, I'm making up numbers, but it's something flat. That way, there's not the back and forth of what, well, that guy gets paid, you know, $15 an hour, that guy gets paid $7 an hour. It's just a standard flat fee if they're at an administrative level or if it's at a professional level. Professional level would also be defined as department head or above.
My understanding of public document research is readily available documents that should already be for public use, whereas a records request is documents that are not produced, you know, for public unless somebody comes in and does the records request. So your emails wouldn't be readily available for a document research. But if you did a records request, then that's what changes the gear to going into that, correct?
Not necessarily. I really do think it's just a relic from a prior process that just, it kind of made sense, so we left it there, and then just clarify the public records request. We can keep that. I mean, it would require a little more definition, but nonetheless, I mean, readily available is one thing, but and it could be. I mean, if it's readily available. I mean, but even those minutes from 1957 are not necessarily readily available.
I think this will be a lot more discussion and.
Yeah.
Well, so that, I'm just going to make that suggestion, Honorable Vice Mayor. We can tell by the amount of discussion we're having right now that there's a clarity problem here in us understanding how we're going to make this work from a financing standpoint, since this is a financing discussion.
Yeah.
So maybe we could get some more information on this, and we can just move on from here into the rest of our. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vice Mayor?
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, now I would like to call up our community development leader, Lou, to talk a little bit more about his department and budget.
Everybody else skipped this stage. What happened?
You're closer.
Yep, go right ahead.
So in our community development department, we are in charge of the planning and zoning board of adjustments. Currently, we enforce sections of the municipal code, chapter 8, 12, 15, 16, 18, and 19. We respond to all complaints that we get in our office, whether it's building. I know staff goes out and looks at setbacks. They do their due diligence as far as what's going to go on the property as far as what's submitted for a permit. Currently, right now, we're operating the city van. We're advertising for a bus driver now. So there may be days that you see Ryan, you'll see Mike, Lisa was on there today. I'll be in there for a fill-in day. But our department, you know, being a department of 4 right now, we pretty much, I consider ourselves down on the low end, but at the end of the day, we're doing more things where we're up higher. It just don't get noticed as much in the public eye unless something goes wrong. Then we field them calls as well. Our door for the community development is always open. If there's an issue, we address some issues. I feel that our biggest win so far for us and the staff has been the Lawrence property that we finally got cleaned up. We're getting it resurveyed to get it rezoned, and hopefully, in the near future, you know, have some interest in the lower half, once the rezone takes place on the upper half. I think with, like I say, my crew of three, I consider my crew of three. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. And I'm a firm believer that I just want them to know every aspect of what goes on in community development. So, you know, worst case scenario, like it's safe, then they can know what the next step is. We're looking to do more on the cleanup part of it within the city. We have done with Title 19 on the fences. Staff has gone out and visited with people. I think we had 83 letters that went out. Everybody so far has positive input on the fencing. They're wanting to know what it's going to take to bring it into compliance with our ordinance. So we are getting out in the public. During our daily duties, we also, if we have complaints on an apartment that's got issues, staff goes out and takes care of that as well. I would say I like to stay in the office to help feel the calls are coming. But 9 times out of 10, like I say, we're usually all out on the run, doing what we need to do to make Rawlins better.
Councilman Lumen, or Councilwoman Lumen, sorry.
See, your actual for salary is about half of what was budgeted, so I guess my question is, how short of people are you? So I
Right
mentioned
now,
a bus driver.
Yeah, we're short our bus driver. My goal at the end of this year is to have Ryan also certified as a building inspector. So different trainings that come up, my staff I send to get them certified. It's just a good fallback. You know, if I'm tied up and Mike's tied up, then we have the other person to fill their shoes.
So the increase in salary would be for the bus driver and perhaps a increase in, or a different craft once he gets his building inspector certification? Or what?
Me personally, I would like to see an increase for that certification. These aren't easy tests to accomplish, and I think they need to be compensated for what they go out and get.
My apologies, Councilwoman Lumen. Which salary lines are you referring to?
So it has a
Are you- 'cause there's-
community development budget, you have full-time 64,032, that's actual.
Okay.
And the budget is 130.
That was the fiscal year 25 actual, is that first column.
Right.
And then in 2026, the budget did go up to the 130. It appears that staff were added somewhere in the midst
Oh,
of
okay. Yeah,
25
that's-
to 26.
That's-
That's what you're referring to.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
This is year to year, not just this year. Okay.
Yeah, not necessarily. It's the 25 actual, then we do the 26 budget and look at the 27 proposed amount. So the actual increase for 27 on this particular activity is 6.5%.
Okay, thank you.
So our community development program is divided into 3 activities. So we have our community development. This includes Lou and an administrative staff. We did do an increase on our contract expenses, or excuse me, consultant expenses. And that was as a result of getting appraisals for our city properties so that we can properly sell them if that is the council's intent, or at least properly value them. Community Development also operates the code enforcement. Code enforcement is 2 full-time staff now. And that's the increase from 25 to 26 that you see there. And then they also operate the CATS bus. That is the 3rd activity. There isn't too much change there. That is actually only a 3/4 position, not a full-time position. Anything else on our community development groups? Okay. One fee ask that we have for community development. On page 159, under planning, currently we do special use permits, and there's a fee associated. Special use permits are required to be renewed, but no fee has ever been assigned to renew them, meaning we have not been able to charge a fee for the renewals.
Councilman Singer.
Knew that was gonna catch me. So, when they do the special use permit initially, they pay a fee.
They pay a
And
fee.
they are required to renew them every year.
Yes,
But we haven't been charging a fee when they go through the renewal process.
correct, because there has been no fee to point to actually charge them anything.
Councilman Elliott.
Could I get an example?
Lou, or would you?
So, special use permit would be anything not allowed in, say, in a residential area, you want to operate a gun shop where they ship the rifles or pistols into that property. There's a minor and a major. The minor's based on parking. The major would be based on if you're going to have vehicles come in and out of your property all day long.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else on that ask?
Councilman Sila.
So you're looking at putting a $75 a year fee on that, is that what that is?
That was a suggestion. I did actually develop that fee based strictly on some of the other renewal fees that we have, where they're usually just a portion of that.
I was just wondering
But
if
yes.
that's why that was there, that was
That
what
is
you're
why that's
looking
there.
at, okay.
It was, it is a recommendation.
Okay.
And as far as staff, we try to renew a contractor's license 1st of February. We'd also like to kind of set a hard date for the special use permits as well.
Anything else for our community development director?
Councilman Singer.
So would they be prorated to begin with? So that the whole fee, so let's say they're doing something in November and they're gonna repay their fee in January. Are they only paying the 2 months or are they paying the full fee?
Well, to keep everything square, we would like to see, we really would like to get away from prorating, but to make it fair, if you get a special use permit, say in October, you're doing them 2 months, but then you're gonna have to renew back in February for a
Right.
full year.
So only the first time you'd need to do that. Every other time after that, they're in the cycle.
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else? All right, thank you, Lou.
Thank you.
Next is our fire department. And I'm gonna monitor the slides, but I'm gonna turn it over to Fire Chief Allen. I was told I have to keep the cartoon in, so.
Appreciate a few minutes here. As you can see, we're not just fire extinguishers. So there's a pretty extensive list of things we do up there. Fortunately, fire is not the biggest percentage of what we do. We have a lot of other things we're taking care of, as you can see. I won't take time to read that entire list. But there's a lot of services that we provide. And a lot of times we are called because nobody else knows how to solve the problem, so they give it to us to try to figure out. So, just to recap quick on last year, this is 2025 numbers. total of 947 incidents. We had 20 ambulance calls where we actually had our ambulance out, maybe the third out ambulance, that's a significant number of times. I can tell you as of this week, we're at 10 for this year already. So out of those 947 calls, 23 times we were canceled, meaning we didn't have to do anything. Silent calls, those are the calls that the on-duty staff responds to. Those are medical, a lot of the other stuff that we're doing throughout the day, the service calls, those kind of things. Working calls is when all the volunteers and all the firefighter staff are called in full-time. Those are the working calls, that's the one, the big ones where everything's happening. You can go to the next slide, please. Okay. So this is just some percentage numbers. I realize it's kind of hard to read. 69% of our runs are EMS in nature. 17%, a little bit of change, or service calls, that's every variety of things where we're going to check for natural gas smells, for lockouts, for people in an elevator, you name it, there's all kinds of things that way fall under service call. Hazardous conditions, those are specific to when there's a possible hazard present as we respond to a call. Those kind of things. We do have a percentage. I think that's like 6.8. It's really hard to see on the schematic, just the colors that turned out anyway.
Sorry.
Of false calls, those kind of things. So unfortunately, that happens. Somebody hits a pull station. Alarms go off. We get to go. It's not really a real call. It goes in that false calls, those kind of things. But that's kind of just a breakdown of our last year of how our incidents went. We'd like to go to that next slide. So some of the wins we've had in the last year, we were able to replace our breathing air compressor. That's the big yellow machine on the high left of the screen. I assume it's that way. That is it fills our air bottles. That's what we breathe when we're in a hazardous environment. Those kind of things. The previous machine was there when I started in '99. So it had served its life well and been there. The other two photos up there are battery-powered extrication equipment. Those are new tools that we've been able to purchase this last year as well. And that's actually our initial training, those photos that were taken there when we're playing with those, using the training room to do that. So those were a really neat addition to our fleet, those kind of things. Basically, push a button, go to work, you don't have to worry about firing the truck up, making sure all the power's on, making sure you have hose enough to get to where you're going, those kind of things. So. And with that, we'll move into what we have.
So this is our current fire department budget for 2027. We do have some equipment added for bunker gear that hadn't previously been included in the budget. We do have the request for a vehicle that would come from our vehicle replacement fund. I believe this is the chief's vehicle. It's yours, right?
It's just one of our utility pickups.
If
it's nice, it might be in line.
It is having some significant issues. It has served our fire department, but it is just no longer viable to continue maintaining this particular truck. We also are back for a new fire truck. I know this was another option that was talked about last year. It was never followed through in the 2026 budget. But we would definitely like to get it into the 27 budget, as we do need about 4 years to build a fire truck. So.
I thought we budgeted for that fire truck last year. I thought we put it in there last year.
It was budgeted and put into carryover capital, therefore it did not get expended in 2026.
Yeah, I thought we okayed to go ahead and get it ordered and get it coming.
I can't answer that exactly because I wasn't here, but
So, yeah.
My understanding from the budget book is that it was included as carryover capital. And so we can talk a little bit more. Capital comes up on Thursday night too, where we'll have some more information on what I think happened there.
Oh.
Councilman Lewis, or
Yeah. Did you have, I mean, I thought you came up and asked for a new truck.
So we did.
I'm confused.
And it all came forward, those kind of things, and that part of it. There's been a lot of challenges that have happened since then, including a complete change of staff
Right.
attending here. Also, the rep that we were working with through the company we were going to purchase with passed away suddenly, things, and so it's been a complete start over the project, some of that part of it, those kind of things that we've been working on. And my understanding is that funding has not been available yet.
So we did talk about it, we did agree to it, and then circumstances
Have just
erased
been
it.
the way it's been.
Okay.
Yes, that's a good way to do it.
Okay, just, I'll make sure I remember right. Thank you.
So is this money left in the budget, or was it?
This money is now included in the budget under our capital expenses,
What-
at
what-
least the 400,000.
Well, I mean, was it left in last year's budget because we were supposed to budget it? I guess.
It
what I'm
was
saying.
not left, it was put as carryover capital expenses, some similar to your deferred maintenance program, where you wait to spend expenses until you have the funds available.
Councilman Sanger.
So if it's in, was it the one, was it 1.4?
1.2 is what we were
1.2.
asking last year, yes.
So did we have the 1.2 in carryover?
400,000 is what I found, which was the initial payment that would be due on a fire truck. I found that in the impact assistance fund as a deferred cost.
So where's the 800,000?
I can't answer that question. I didn't create last year's budget.
So it was my understanding that that was going to be, just like we have the 400,000 now, that in the 38 to 40 months that it takes to build a truck, that so next year we would see the same amount over the next at least 3 fiscal years to come up with that.
So 4,444.
Yeah,
Just
yeah, it's just broken out. So basically, we have a number of options. We can make, we can just save money, pay it up front kind of thing. We can, sign contracts, start making payments, pay it off at the end. We could do leasing. There's any number of different ways that we could go about purchasing and coming up with the 1.2 million. The easiest way Laura and I talked about is having those allotments basically set aside.
So they would be in your budget from now until the truck arrives?
Yeah, for at least this
They
year.
would just
2
keep
more
showing up every
fiscal
year?
years, yeah, would equal, at least my math says 3 years.
You have to ask her. She's the one that's gonna say, yes, you can do that, or no, you can't.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page there.
Councilman Patterson.
So in other words, we're reverting back to ground zero to start this whole process over again.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So we're looking at 4 years out before we can get a truck. Now, are we gonna put $400,000 a year in for the next 4 years?
That's what they wanted.
Yes.
And how much are we expecting the cost overrun to be now? Instead of 1.2, what's it gonna be?
As far as right now, I haven't actually got new numbers outside of what we already have spec'd in the truck. Fortunately, we still have all the paperwork, those kind of things. And from my knowledge, nothing's changed drastically at this point in time. And that would be, once we actually get that contract, that price will not change over the time to build the truck. It's going to stay. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. And in building the truck, are we gonna have it fully, equipment put in it? Hoses and nozzles and,
The 1.2 is for the truck itself.
with nothing on it?
That would be bare truck, yes.
So, according to
So,
my
that's
numbers
one of
that I'm
those things that
seeing,
we-
we're gonna have $1.6 million for a truck.
Well, that's one of those things that as we work over the next few years, then yes, we can start adding in those.
Because $400,000 for the next 4 years is 1.6 million. So we're basically going to outfit the truck right off the bat. Okay?
Councilwoman Lumen.
So your contract, from what do you know, is a payment after 4 years?
We have
The
multiple
company-
ways to pay for this. We can start making monthly payments.
I have a hard time believing a company would wait 4 years for a $1.2 million payment.
No, what I'm saying is we can save up our money, then make that payment, make the order the truck, or we can, yeah.
Or can we start now and pay them the
Yes, we can- that's what the
400,000 for 4
400,000 is,
years?
Payments to make that, yeah.
Because here's my problem with waiting.
Yeah, no, I don't want to wait, because If we wait 4 years to get the 1.2 million, and then we wait 3
And then
more
it'll
years to
be
get the truck. Yeah,
2.4. I think we've learned this from the water,
So
that
this
that
is-
price will
this-
continue to go
This
up.
is a very specialized piece of equipment, and it's actually very common with such pieces of equipment that they do wait until the vehicle is built in order to finish out the contract. It's actually a very common phenomenon with this kind of situation.
We definitely have a contract with
And
a
you do have a
definite
definite
amount that
with a
will not
contract that does not
double,
change.
triple.
No, it's similar to pre-ordering a car, for example. You order your car, you tell them the specifications, they give you the amount.
And they wait 4 years.
And then you wait
It's amazing.
until it's built.
Okay.
Councilman Elliott?
Under the building and grounds maintenance, it went up to $20,000. Why is that?
Our fire department is currently very open to the public whenever they're not there. The welcome area is unlocked and allows people free range when they're out on calls, excuse me. So one of their requests was at Fire Station 1 to do a little bit of a remodel in order to be able to lock the station when they are out on calls and there's no one there. This would account for that. This is coming up to is a capital expense, and it comes out of our capital project funds.
Thank you.
Anything else on our fire department? Okay, thanks, Chief. And next we have our city attorney's office, and so I'll ask City Attorney Mayberry. And you said pick my favorites, so I picked my favorites.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay. So what do? We support all of the departments, and we strengthen the city's legal position, both in prosecution, which is more of the enforcement arm. We protect the city's financial and infrastructure interests, and we proactively manage risk across city operations. So this past year, one of the big projects, obviously, was recently come to fruition, were the franchise agreements for the telecom. That took a lot of negotiating, actually began that process last May, so it's been a year. In the past year, the past fiscal year, we have prosecuted over 1,000 municipal violations. We're actively engaged within our department, within our small but mighty city attorney's office in various networks, including WHAM, Wyoming Bar Association, National Association of Legal Assistants, International Municipal Lawyers Association, WyoPass, and several other professional organizations, so that we can stay attuned to the developments and everything going on, so that we can keep the city apprised and current with upcoming legislation, changes in rules, and all those sorts of fancy things. We have reviewed countless contracts and bids. We have been very successful in negotiating favorable contracts. A lot of this really goes towards, to clarify, and so, business contract with any type of supplier, they're in the private industry. We're in the government industry. There are also a lot of, their template that they send out never has our municipal terms, so I make sure that we've got all of our statutory protections that are there in indemnification, Governmental Claims Act, and also because of the way our budgeting process, as we're undertaking right now, that we also are mindful of allocations and not tying the city into long-term expensive contracts that may not be in the city's best interest in another year, for whatever reason that may be. We are also having open door policy with all departments, and we field calls for myriad of issues. And we do a lot of other things, but we like to stay under the radar as well, and that's usually a good thing.
And then we do have our city attorney budget, a couple of highlights from that one. The consultant legal fees, there is an increase there. That's to provide the flexibility needed for specific legal advice and other types of specialty services that other attorneys can provide, that a city attorney may need assistance on. And then you will notice too on some supplies, different things you will find on Thursday night. Our non-department has been departmentalized in a lot of ways. Some of those are, of course, postage and copy machines in order to make sure that those are allocated to the correct departments. And so since that hadn't previously been done, it looks like a huge increase.
I'd like to touch on the consultants legal. And so, for example, just in the franchise agreements, the city expended tens of thousands of dollars in outside legal counsel to make sure that we protected the city's interests. So outside specialty counsel is expensive. Also within, we have been very successful in recouping those costs though, to reimburse the city for outside counsel. It was actually a term that we built into the agreements. So trying to be very mindful of taxpayer expenses, where all these funds come from, and make sure that industry bears the costs associated with industry. Within this consultant legal, I don't know if it was Laura's intention, but it is my intention, if possible. So I had approached council a couple months ago about getting consent to apply for the the Legal Rural Opportunity Fund. And that is a fund through the Wyoming State Bar that provides a small grant of funds to assist with recruiting young attorneys or law students to come work and do an internship over the summer. Haven't heard word on whether we're going to get anything there or not, but nonetheless, it's still still believe it is worthwhile to market that position, and if we can also supplement that role to make it a little more attractive with maybe $3,000 to $5,000 stipend over the entire summer for a part-time law student or recent graduate, and that would be part-time, maybe 3 days a week, and would also help with their travel expenses or if their housing expenses. Just makes it a little more attractive. And then the intent of that role would be to assist with prosecution and some of these bigger community development projects regarding the liens that are currently on some of the properties, some surplus properties, to get those out and make sure we have all the legal work done ahead of time in a lot of those projects. I do have a question for Laura in regard to dues publications. We had initially included in my submission for Civic Plus, which is the online the ordinances.
Yes.
And was that moved to?
No, that was included.
Okay. Because this doesn't seem like it's going to be sufficient to cover both the Civic Plus and Westlaw and.
We can double check to make sure, but I do remember my note saying that it was included. So.
Did you have your hand up, or did you put your hand down?
I did.
Okay, Councilwoman Lewin.
So I know we talked in the past, talked about having someone to help run the cases before the city. That's not in here, I'm assuming, because the salaries are about the same. Is your intern kind of a way to get that help to a certain extent, or?
Correct. So a deputy attorney has traditionally been something that has been in the past. It's been frozen for several years. Mm-hmm. I believe it was last published. There was a search for it between 2020 and 2022, and it was just a challenge to get anybody to fill that role based on the salary. Being mindful of our budget constraints, as much as I want that, that role and to be able to do more good for the city, I am mindful of that, which is where I'd like to supplement with, perhaps an intern. One of the things that has been very helpful is I do utilize a lot of resources. I've really reached out to my network to whatever I can get for free, I get it for free, or if it's in my dues with the membership, I leverage those resources. So I've been very creative and resourceful with that. I'm also currently working with the municipal judge in how we proceed with sentencing. So back in the discussion an hour and a half ago regarding the municipal court, there are fees associated with court-appointed attorneys. And where that goes to is within our ordinance. Within our ordinances, there are jailable fees or jailable offenses, and those are things like larceny, which is theft, assault and battery. I don't remember exactly what the list is. And those under the Wyoming Rules of Criminal Procedure and also federal law, if there is a potential penalty of incarceration, that carries an automatic jury trial, and if a defendant is unable to pay for representation, the court will appoint them an attorney, which is where that comes from. However, we don't really do a lot of, the level of crimes that we prosecute in the municipal court, number one, they're misdemeanors, and two, they're of a lower level, and that is where the discretion begins with officers, whether they say through municipal or if it escalates to a higher court or through the state. We are not seeking incarceration for the majority of actually for any of our municipal ordinance violations, and so that's a discussion that a position that the city puts at the inception of a proceeding, that the city does not intend to pursue incarceration as a penalty, and then that does mitigate those court-appointed attorney fees and the additional work that goes along with that. So we're being creative with how we pursue these, and since there are already built-in mechanisms for more serious offenses to be charged at the state level, we are mindful of that as well. But we are not adding work to the county. We're keeping it, keeping things in our own square.
Councilman Singer, did you say others?
I'm in the fire budget, how did I get there? So, in the 35,000 for consultant fee, I'm taking a left turn. In the 35,000, you said you were looking at the grant, a grant to be able to have an intern. Is that correct? Does the grant have a timeline?
It's for that year. We haven't been awarded it, or we haven't gotten any parameters on that yet, so I'm not really sure what that is. But it's not much. It's like $1,200. It's like gas money, essentially.
Councilwoman Lemon?
So could we get some numbers or see what the cost difference is between a attorney deputy versus the intern?
Well, an intern for the summer, I'm really just wanting to work with the law school, if possible, if there's still a student, to also provide credit, but then also something, because the experience is invaluable. And so at least have some kind of a stipend to make it attractive, anywhere between probably like $3,000 to $5,000 for a 3-month span of part-time work.
And that's not added into this budget, correct?
That's where I had imagined it was within that consultant legal, which would be kind of the outside legal expenses.
Okay.
But a deputy attorney would be, for a full-time, would be anywhere from $75,000 to $90,000.
Okay.
We could be very productive, though.
Okay.
Anything else on our city attorney budget? All right. Well, that concludes tonight's work session then. And we will be back here Thursday at 6 p.m. to talk about the rest of our general fund.
I have one question on just all the funds that are going to come forward. I might have missed it. Is there a calculation in here for COLAs?
I'm sorry,
For the pay,
Oh,
yeah,
raise
the
the
pay
COLA, okay.
increases.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I heard a different word, so
Oh,
I'm
no, sorry.
Okay. There is not, because we have a step system within the city, that all employees move in between according to their, when they reach their 6 months, when they reach their 1 year, et cetera. So I did not project a COLA at this time, simply keeping them within their appropriate steps.
Okay, but now I was thinking the COLA, maybe I'm misunderstanding how the COLA works or what it's based off of, but I thought it was based off your year, like the inflation, so that would offset that. So it'd be like a 1% to 3% increase for the entirety.
So that is one way of doing it. There is no set ways on how you can do a COLA. I've seen them done anywhere from 0 on up, just depending on the circumstances of that organization.
Okay.
In this particular case, I did not. The current inflation rate is actually at 4%, so that would be a significant jump in salaries across the board.
And I think maybe that's why I was thinking about it, is because just like our water infrastructure, when we finally had to increase rates, it was a dramatic increase. And when we did the step increases, some of those were pretty big jumps compared to what they were before. So it was just.
Right. So we did review salaries with all the department heads and kind of talked about where they felt there were gaps. At this time, the vast majority did not find any real gaps.
Okay.
The gaps that they did find were specific to this person missed their last review or something like that.
So we're staying with our salaries, are we staying pretty equal to the general?
At this point, I would say we are, and our department heads seems to be in agreement with it.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, was that it? Councilman Elliott?
Is the information that we went over and in here public knowledge? Is it shareable?
It does have to be put out to the public. In fact, tonight's work session is on YouTube, so all of this is put out for the public.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Elliott, they also can go to Board Docs and they can download all of it. They can download it and go print it off.
Great, thank you.
Do I call the meeting? Let's adjourn. 9:12. Thank you.